Green, green. Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy. Thank you! Wow! Hell yeah. Great job, man!
And we got a crash. Car spinning left and right.
Buddy, let her rip. Rain like hell, baby! Come on! Oh my god, guys! Yes! Yes! Unbelievable! You guys are the best! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, what a year!
What is happening, y'all? NASCAR Weekly Podcast is back this week again, because it's weekly, on my channel. I'm excited. I fixed the UFO. Real quick.
It's back.
Yes, real quick business. Eric will be on in the second half of the show. He got stuck in Arkansas, and so it's just going to be a minute for Eric, but just letting y'all know that right now going into it. Either way, with or without him, we still have plenty to talk about this week. We got stuff from Nashville. We got stuff about different policy at the track, racing itself, super chats we'll get to. We also got JRM possibly going to Cup.
Ooh, that's a lot this week.
Yeah,
man.
MTJ's coming back. Castro Neves in the Daytona 500. Fox pushing to get away from Texas. And then, of course, we got Road America on the greatest weekend of the year, 4th of July weekend. I'm joined right now by Darian. He's on that side. Oh, there goes my hand. He's over. He's next to me. And then Danny's below me. I can point to you, Danny. Guys, how are we doing tonight?
I have allergies really bad, so if I'm muted a lot, that's why I'm just going to be blowing my nose. And speaking of which.
Oh, yeah, because he'd sound like Scarface if he wasn't. How about you, Danny? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. He's going to blow his nose. I just realized I just forgot to turn my background on, and I've got it too bright, so that is what it is.
It's all good.
We're very professional without Eric here.
How about this, Mr. Unprofessional? You start us off this week, Danny. Just kind of going into it. Talk about that last restart, Chase Elliott getting that win. We were all at their pit box, so we saw firsthand the nerves or lack thereof, it seemed, on their team. But Danny, kind of start us off with the finish.
Yeah, I definitely saw one of the Elliott crew members use some language when that caution come out, because they were ready to just kind of cruise, and it's been a long night already. They were ready to just cruise.
But also,
get the win.
But also, Danny, what else did you find on that pit box? Because I was surprised that they even used this program.
Okay, yeah. So actually, you guys might like this. So we full transparency, we operate our show using Zoom and OBS, open broadcast software. So we pull up a Zoom call with each other, and then we broadcast the feed from the Zoom call into OBS. I found that, and I was paying attention to the side of their pit box, they were actually using OBS, open broadcast software, on the number 9 crew. Now, they're not doing no crazy live streams. There's no Twitch account for the number 9 team going at pit stops or anything. What they were doing is they've got, I guess, some kind of linked cam system that overviews the top of the pit stall. So I guess, one of the things that hangs over it, it's able to film them doing their pit stop. They hit record on OBS, and then when the pit stop's over with, they can go back and watch the pit stop, see what they did, see what they can improve on for the next one. And that was just one of those things I had never seen before. So it was cool to kind of pay attention to that and realize how, the same technology that we use to do our show is being implemented by teams in NASCAR. I thought that was really cool.
But honestly, if you want to look into, how streaming's, becoming, the future of, everything now and stuff, it's like, if a NASCAR team wanted to live stream on, say, YouTube or Twitch, they could use OBS and stuff while still keeping track of their pit stops and stuff. So they could simulcast if they wanted to.
Just good luck with the licensing issues.
Yeah, good luck getting to do that.
Real quick, while I want to address real quick right now, we'll get to all the super chats, which there were many. There were many before the show. We'll get to those at about an hour mark in the show. But yeah, kind of getting back to the finish itself, Darian, I want to see what going into that last restart. I want to know how were you, I guess, surprised by the fact that half of the field stayed out for once?
Well, actually, I was more surprised that when half the field stayed out, there were still some cars that were, still willing to pit and stuff. Like, I mean, specifically those damn Toyotas. I mean, throughout the most of the race, it looked like, hey, Toyota's back here. Martin Truex Jr., Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, all were leading the race at one point. And then all of a sudden, on that final pit stop, they thought, okay, we're going to take the pressure tires, and then maybe we can get back up to the front. Now, don't get me wrong. There were some other drivers, such as Ross Chastain, who made the same decision. But they were able to get through the field quicker, and unfortunately, those Toyotas, they did, like, some of them didn't even get out of the top 20, unfortunately.
I'll kind of give some pushback here. I think that in the moment, it wasn't as dumb as a lot of people are saying it was. Because if you think about it, most of the time, 10 to 12 cars don't stay out behind the leader. If the leader stays out, usually they leave them to dry, and maybe 2 or 3 cars stay out. So it's like, I feel like 9 times out of 10, that's a normal move.
Yeah, no, I can understand. I see that. Yeah, I see that part. But it's just in this case, it did not work. And then also when you take into account the way Kyle Busch drove those final couple of corners there, he wasn't too happy about it either. At that point, Kyle was just like, man, like his his controller was disconnected towards the end there. He just was like, screw it, I'll give up.
I'm sorry, like, I want to kind of question that too. Like, we're wondering why Kyle Busch can't get a sponsor, yet the dude rage quits when something doesn't go right for him. It's like, you're kind of seeing maybe some of the reason. Like, I want to ask, like, I'll pass it to you on this one, Danny. Like, do you think maybe stuff like that is why, like, his personality in that respect is why he's run into the problem he's at right now?
Well, yeah, kind of in a way. I mean, it's even funny. They talked a little bit about those kind of issues in the Rowdy movie that's and theaters tonight only. So if you're not there, I don't know how you're watching it. Sorry. But in that movie, they did talk about how in 2011, some of his outbursts and stuff. Well, actually, in his Hendrick days, his outbursts kind of costed him his ride. Kellogg's essentially said that they didn't want him in the car, and then M&M's nearly did the same thing in 2011. So, I mean, it is part of the issue.
It is a clear pattern too. I mean, and honestly too, looking back, I mean, you have to give M&M's more props for staying this long, because after that Ron Hornaday incident in 2011, like, it would have been totally understandable if M&M's was like, no, we don't want to do this anymore. He clearly doesn't care. He just does whatever he wants. But
I'm trying to think of who was in the JGR development lineup in 2011. Who would have been the one to take over if they said, okay, he's got to go?
I don't know. Who was in there at the time?
The one they replaced him with, I believe, in 2011 was Michael McDowell, right?
Yes.
So maybe him was Bubba in that development at that time?
Matt Benedetto was.
Yeah, Matty D.
But he was like in the K&N back then.
That's fun. That's funny to think about what could have been different if they just said, you're out.
Yeah, that would have definitely changed the course of history. But again, yeah, it goes back to Jared's earlier statements. Like, yeah, like, look, you wonder why Kyle Busch has a tough time trying to find sponsorship after all these years? It's dumb stuff like that, unfortunately. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like entertaining for us fans because it's something to talk about. But like when you're a brand trying to find, like a driver or like a team that, hey, let's find somebody who will represent, our product in the best way possible. Look, as entertaining as Kyle Busch can be sometimes, he can take it a step too far from time to time. And, again, when you're trying to find a new sponsorship, probably the best thing not to do is, just don't rage quit towards the end of the race.
Yeah. Real quick, we got over 300 watching right now, but I'm looking at it here. We only got 79 likes, so lick that like button.
Lick the like button, everybody.
And as we move kind of forward into this, I want to talk about the track itself. Because I think that's something a lot of people worried about with this track, and a lot of people I think worried about after the racing last year was if we were going to just have a single line. And I know that, and we'll get to him in a bit, I know Chase Elliott mentioned a ton of that in his post-race presser when he did talk about the track.
And he even said it to me a couple of times this week in an interview.
Yeah, and so I kind of want to, Darren, I'll start off with you on this. Were you surprised going into this weekend that we are actually able to get a good show out of it? Or was this something you kind of expected going in?
Well, I figured that compared to last season's race, it would have to be a tad bit better, just because that first year they hadn't been to the track in over a decade, so it was only going to be one groove. But then once these next gen cars started getting on the track for practice, and then the trucks, and then Xfinity cars, throughout the whole weekend, you started to see a second lane start to develop, and then even us talking to Ryan Vargas on Saturday, Jared, he was even saying like, oh yeah, now they're starting. There's you can run a bit of the top side from time to time more consistently now, and it obviously worked out for him. He got a top 20 finish in that race, and then clearly, I mean, the best car throughout the entire Cup Series race running to that top side was without a doubt Martin Truex Jr., especially in the daytime too, man. He was just able to rock it off of the corner, off of turns 2 and turns 4 on the top side. And yeah, I mean, like you even saw like Chase Elliott use it from time to time to get to the lead, and then Kyle Busch, when he was pulling away, he was like kind of using a bit of both lanes from time to time. So it was more entertaining this time around for sure.
Yeah, I think it just kind of boils down to what we saw in this race was how different those conditions just changed versus what we saw them practice in. I think the JGR cars were definitely set up the best for that daytime, that hot racing. But just whatever the setup was on a 9 and adjustments they made, it just translated better as it become a night race essentially.
Yeah, that for me, like when watching that, whether it's from the media center, from the pits, wherever, seeing it on the broadcast, it did seem like Hendrick just, especially Elliott, it was like just a switch. Like the Gibbs cars were still really good. Kyle Busch was still up there. Truex was. Denny Hamlin. I got to give a shout out to Denny Hamlin with how off he's been much of the season. Still, like, was running up there pretty well. Bell was up there. But it seemed like it was the perfect storm. Funny, I storm there. It was a perfect storm there for Hendrick, though. Like, it was like everything went right
for two of them.
Yeah,
well, yeah.
It wasn't looking very promising at the beginning.
Yeah, it saved their ass.
Even at one point, I remember making a comment in the media center, and it was embarrassing because there was a Hendrick PR rep right there, and someone said, "Easy, man, she's right there." And I was like, "Oh," because Bowman and Byron had both had their issues, and then they showed Elliott. They were like had a wheel completely off, doing something to him, and I was like, "Ooh, well, not looking good for any of their cars today."
But then Kyle Larson too, before it was even nighttime, or before the first delay, he was outside of the top 20 at one point. He was consistently, like, he was as high as 20th place in that first stint. I was like, what's going on here?
It seemed like they missed the setup in the daytime. And they got lucky. They got,
thank goodness. A lot of teams got lucky when it switched to night, definitely. Now, some of the teams that were definitely hurt from the transition, definitely Ryan Blaney at first. He was starting to fall back and stuff, but then
he got lucky. I think the way that last pit stop worked out for him. That's the only thing. That's because he did spin out at one point. So
yeah, he was spinning out, and then he was able to get back inside the top 20, but then he stayed out. But speaking of some pit stops too, Jared, why don't you talk? Let's transition here. Bubba Wallace again. When is he going to catch a break, man?
So. My thing with Bubba here, and I think this is where we're probably going to have a bit of a debate here. My thing with Bubba is, don't get me wrong, the pit crew is bad. Like, they've been awful. But the driver's mentality doesn't help at all. Like, I know there was this big debate, and I think we're going to have a bit of friction on this here about how he was this week. Like, it doesn't help when even if you have been sucking all year like his crew has, it doesn't help when your driver just gives up on you. And that's exactly what he did this week. Now, other drivers have done it too, and it's wrong when they do it. Like, I'm not saying it's not like, that thing of Dale Jr. turned his radio off with 10 laps left, like 20 years ago. Like, that was wrong then too. That was, it was clear immaturity. I'm sorry, Bubba turning his radio off on Booty Barker, someone who didn't screw up at all and was trying to help him, I'm sorry, that's part of the reason why he's a mid-tier driver right now.
But did he turn his radio off, or did he just
stop
say
listening?
anything?
He stopped talking to them. Like,
yeah. I don't blame. I mean, look, I can understand that to an extent, especially when you have like a top 10 car, and this is a track where in practice he was P1, a track that is similar to Kansas, a track in which he was running inside the top 5, and then his crew messes up again. Yeah, and it was pretty obvious that his car was pretty fast to at least run inside the top 10 again. Now, he was able to come back and finish P12, but still, I mean, like, after multiple races where it's like, okay, it seems like that it'll finally be his day here. It'll finally be his day where he can at least get a top 5, at least, maybe try and compete for a win. Because at Kansas and here in Nashville too in practice, it definitely seemed like he had the speed early on, but unfortunately his crew let him down once again. And thank goodness
he would have had a top 5. He would have.
And thank goodness that wheel didn't fall off completely, because imagine if it would have fallen off completely on that pit stop, and then that same team who was just coming off of a penalty, that would have been horrible.
I think at that point, if that was like now then 8 weeks that they would have been off together, you might as well get a whole new crew at that point.
No, but back to Bubba Wallace, like to your point, like, it's just like he needs to, change the attitude here and there. I do agree with you to an extent, because in some of his interviews and some of the ways he does talk to the media about his team from time to time, like I do get the sense that he kind of reminds me of where Junior was to an extent when he was having his big struggles and stuff, where it's like every time he would talk to somebody about some of his struggles, it seemed like there was no end in sight, there was like no hope.
It compounds on itself. It's like,
yeah.
And you look at how he always seems to answer to every person that's like really starting to hate on him on Twitter or something. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I can't help but to think right now with how he is, he's a bit of a head case with it. Like, he's like, as a driver, I feel like if you're going to succeed in Cup, you have to be mentally tough. And it's just when it comes to criticism, when it comes to stuff in the moment, like, I don't think he's mentally tough enough right now to be the kind of driver that the equipment has shown he can be, and when he can be without bad pit stops. And it's not a diss at him personally. It's just the fact that it's like every time something goes wrong, it seems like the way he reacts is it's the end of the world. It was, not even halfway into the race, about halfway maybe.
I think it was just the beginning of the race. It was one of the first cautions.
Yeah. So if it's if there's like 200 laps to go, it's like, I get it. I'd be mad. And don't get me wrong. Every week I see it and I'm like, death, taxes, Bubba's crew sucking. Mm-hmm. Like, they're the same. It's the same thing every week. But it's like he has to be the leader in that moment and be like, brush it off. We'll get him.
Yeah, and that's a fair argument too. But I don't necessarily have a problem with him snapping at his crew guys too. I mean, you see NASCAR.
Snap at him's fine.
Yeah, snapping at him's fine and stuff like that. Yeah, I mean, you see multiple drivers do that over and over again, and they get praised for it too. Kyle Busch does it. Jimmy Johnson does it. At Chad Knaus from time to time. They've won 7 championships together. Mm-hmm. So my only problem with that is that some of the reactions is that, like he's not doing this, he's not doing that, and stuff like that. Well, I'm like, he's not doing anything different that other drivers have done in the past when their crews mess up. It's like, hey, you guys are messing up. What's going on here? I'm putting in the work. You guys need to meet me halfway too.
Not communicating with your crew chief is just going to make it worse. That's what I'm saying about the compounding problems. These can be fixed, I think. I think he could have finished better than 12th personally if he would have taken a moment, calmed down. Because I think they said, like, it was, so it was in the first half. It was under the rain delay, he basically had to take that time to decompress. And it's like, most races, you're not going to have that, No. So that's my big kind of worry with him over time.
Thankfully, though, I'm glad that he happens to have Kurt Busch as his teammate, because there was an article that came out later this week that was talking about, like, he's been helping out Bubba Wallace with some of these frustrations. I mean, if there's anybody you want to get advice from when it comes in that department, dealing with frustrations during a race, it's Kurt Busch, because before, like, I remember back in time.
No, he's never been frustrated.
Yeah, exactly.
They're on the back straightaway, effing Einstein.
He's had some of the most amazing quotes on the radio, one of the most amazing rants from time to time. So he's the perfect guy to go to see, like, hey, how do I handle these situations? Especially with the way Kurt Busch handles frustrations now compared to the way he did 10 years ago.
Yeah, I was just going to say, side note, I was talking to this with, I think, Claudia. We realized after this weekend, out of all the drivers, we got to interview a lot of drivers this year at the track, in the media bullpens. I think Kurt Busch has been the one that I've interviewed the most this season, and he's always just been one of the nicest guys. And you wouldn't know that if you go back and watch the old Kurt Busch.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, just one last thing, Jared. And I feel like as Bubba Wallace continues to progress, and if he can get some of these finishes here and there down, some of these top 5 runs that he's having, once he gets more and more success, I feel like then you'll start to see him, be a little bit more looser with, the media and his crew guys and stuff like that. But he's got to get those finishes consistently first.
So where I see it is like I said, I don't have a problem with him cussing his crew or being like, "Come on, get your crap together." Well, I almost dropped one. I don't have a problem with that. I don't. What I have a problem with is no communication with your crew chief, even if it's just like, "Hey buddy, how you doing?" Just one word answer. Just keep the communication line, because cutting off, like, that's the same problem he had with the crew chief before Booty Barker, was there was no good communication between them. And it's like, these two have shown much better chemistry between each other. They over the radio especially. It has been the crew that's been the friction here. Booty Barker's bringing good cars to the racetrack for him. Booty Barker can improve on those cars. And Booty Barker is not the one who had a loose wheel or messed up on a pit stop. Like, he's in charge of that crew, but it was not him who did that, and he is the one who has to be doing damage control with Bubba for that. So that's where my problem is. People who are upset at him for yelling at his crew I don't think have listened to the radio before, because every driver does this.
Mm-hmm. Every driver snaps at somebody.
Yeah, that's not where I have a problem. And don't get me wrong, I feel for him, because he has driven his ass off a few times this year and been absolutely screwed by his crew. So I think that's just for me, and I think that's where a lot of people, like, where their like issue was with it. I could be wrong though, But I figure that probably covers that. I want to bring up something that I think is a little more positive and all of us can talk about. NBC's coverage. We got to see it a bit in the media center this week. And I want to start with you, Danny, and go then to you, Darian, after. Why was it so much better than Fox's? Because I think that's like the overall consensus. I don't think we need to sit all day and be like, "Oh, it's so much better." How did it improve on what Fox did?
Because they made it with people who already know NASCAR in mind. That's what I saw of it, at least. I mean, they showed that graphic of Steve Letarte properly explaining the new lug nut that I feel like there's a lot of fans who still hate the idea of one lug nut, but if they could have just heard it explained to them like that, they might have understood it a little bit better earlier on in the season. We just went through a whole half a season where I felt like Fox was talking down to us as if we had never seen a NASCAR race in our entire life.
And also, too, just the whole comedic thing that came with watching NASCAR races on Fox. After just one weekend of NBC and / USA coverage, thank goodness all of that is finally gone. It was great to hear commentary and pre-race stuff that actually took the sport serious for once. It's about damn time, we NASCAR fans deserve that.
I just know I could tell, because I like when I'm media, because I can go in the media center and watch it for a little bit and still have an idea of what I'm seeing on TV, and I can just tell that there had to have been a lot of NBC executives taking notes all season. That we got to talk to their social media manager, Ryan, and I know that he's probably paid attention to that kind of stuff and relayed it to the right department. So
they probably seen what we've had to say about it too. We've had a lot to say about it all year. Especially
the right people somewhere of NBC paid attention to what people didn't like about the Fox coverage. And they came in, and I guess the weather hurt them. They probably we'll get into the ratings a little bit later, but overall, I think what they presented, those who tuned in should want to tune in more.
Yes, exactly. And also, I mean, thankfully, they have the luxury of covering the second half of the season, so they can just see what Fox does wrong and just not do it.
It is important for Fox to do well if you're going to be that first half, because you get the Daytona 500. That's going to be your biggest watch race of the year. You need someone who's going to be able to set that stone in the right direction. But at the same time, I like the NBC is the one that is going to finish this out, because that's what you're going to remember during all the championship celebrations, all the documentaries that they make about the 2022 season. You're going to barely focus about the first half of the season. You're going to really focus in on that playoff time.
And don't forget the new reality show starring Austin. No, he's watching.
I'm good. I'm good about watching reality shows. But I will say what I really liked, and I think what this kind of all encompasses, is there was a certain energy that they had. There was an energy in the booth. There was an energy with the ones on pit road. They had Rutledge in the right places as the comedic. And
they had Rutledge not even at the track. They had him in Nashville.
He's where Chase Elliott wanted to be.
I hate to say this. I mean this with no offense to Rutledge, but I think that was perfect just to send him to Nashville and just let him have a good time out there.
Yeah. This is
but that's what I'm saying. That the direction seems to be much more concise with it. I want to give one shout out to a guy who does not get enough praise. I can tell you, like, when we started doing this show, he was way worse on air. Rick Allen has gotten much better as an announcer. He doesn't yell all the time. He isn't saying weird stuff that really won't fit a booth.
Hey Dale, did you know? No, I ain't gonna say that.
Talking about every time he's next to Dale Jr., talking about why Kevin Harvick got that RCR ride.
Hey, Dale Jr., do you remember why Kevin Harvick got that ride?
Yeah, it's like he has gotten so much better at directing the way in the booth that they talk about the broadcast. I got to give him praise because people don't give him enough.
We know actually for a fact he pays attention to online criticism.
He saw the Raw Gator video, didn't he?
He saw the Raw Gator video where he was saying problems all the time back in the speed days, and I don't think he's went on the record of saying this on anything, but essentially when he realized how much of a meme that become, he stopped saying that.
And also, I think his kids showed him that. If I'm not mistaken, like, hey, Dad, look, you're in a meme video.
But also, it's cool. It was great hearing Dale Jr. commentate again too. Like just like in the media center, every time he would just like have like be highest, like I don't know. I felt like every time he said something, I was just on the edge of my seat because I was like, oh, something's happening, because it's just the way he reacts to stuff. It's just...
Could you just imagine if we got Carnival and problems at the same time?
Oh, NASCAR Twitter.
Problems, Carnival!
So I will say one thing that I think a lot of people gave them the benefit of the doubt on, even though I think if Fox did this, we would all be up in arms about. Switching the race, and I know it's contractual. I know that they can't exactly help it, and it's a split moment thing, but switching the race from NBC to USA Network.
That was a ratings killer.
And they didn't relay it well to the audience from what a lot of people said. I was outside at that point, so I didn't hear it.
So I had saw it. They had said like, okay, so like they'd given them two options. Like, okay, if the race happens tonight, we'll be on like in a few hours on USA, or if it happens tomorrow, we'll be on at noon. I'm like, well, dang, like you're leaving people on a cliffhanger. Like, hey, is it happening? Is it gonna finish tonight or tomorrow? I don't know. But also too, like you can't like. They were in a bit of a tricky situation as well because the Stanley Cup Finals Game 6 was on the same night,
and it turned out to be the last game.
Yeah, exactly. So obviously, like the NASCAR rain delay or Stanley Cup Finals, even pick the finals. So
even as a diehard NASCAR fan, if that's a championship game, I want them to be able to see that. Don't boot them off for me to have one random race in the middle of the season.
Yeah, it's the Stanley Cup Finals. Trust me, like that was their priority.
Again, if Fox did this, I'm pretty sure most people will be ripping Fox a new one for it.
Here's the thing. Here's the difference. I've seen Fox they have
I think they would. They totally would.
I've seen FS1 coverage like I've seen their post race coverage end quickly because they had to turn on USFL football. That's a reason to get frustrated.
That is embarrassing because that series. The attendance has just been awful.
I'm just saying the fans would not be as quick to forgive if Fox, even for something like this, switched it to FS1.
Even if it was something as big as the Stanley Cup Finals?
They wouldn't. I guarantee you fans would. Fans are not all the time rational with their takes.
No, that's nasty.
They would be angry at Fox and would be ripping them a new one, whereas NBC has gotten off now for it.
Apparently, the Stanley Cup wasn't on NBC; it was on ABC.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah,
I didn't know that it went to ESPN. I thought it was still NBC.
Yeah, that okay. I thought that maybe that's where. So again, if like Fox this year on Easter with plenty of other stuff around sports wise, with a rain delay, kept their broadcast on Fox.
Oh, people are saying it was for America's Got Talent.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Now, America's Got Talent's a popular show.
Oh,
it is.
At the same time, if Fox did this for one of their shows, we would not be giving them the benefit of the doubt
Okay.
the way we're giving NBC.
Okay, well, first off, I apologize to anyone who's listening now. Sorry for me being misinformed. I thought it was on NBC.
It went to
I
Law and
apologize.
Order.
Yeah.
I never even knew that ESPN was showing hockey. I thought it
That's
was always
right.
NBC.
That's no.
Yeah,
That's right.
NBC
They had just switched the contract this year. I apologize for that. Okay. But all right.
Oh,
America's Got
because actually, yeah, you're right. I remember now. That was a big part of the reason the NBC Sports Network even went away because they lost that.
Okay, so yeah, I apologize about that. Sorry.
So
okay, but yeah,
recontextualizing that.
Okay,
are we more on my side on this?
Well, for a show, look, I get America's Got Talent. It's one of the most popular shows. But
there'd be a lot of pissed off normies if they lost America's Got Talent for NASCAR.
The equivalent is if Fox went to FS1 so they could put on The Masked Singer, which gets like 8 million viewers a week. Would we be as forgiving of Fox?
No. But I guess like NBC gets a bit of a pass because they have such a good broadcast. I guess that's why.
But if we're gonna hold Fox to a high standard, why don't we hold NBC?
Because I guess fans are willing to give NBC the benefit of the doubt because they know Fox is like, oh, they're not as serious.
Benefit of the doubt is what got us to where we are with Fox being so low. I mean, that's my argument here. It's like, because I get why they did it. It's contracts. You can't fight with that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it is still a net detriment to NASCAR that it went to USA Network. We'll talk about it in TV ratings in a bit, but it was not really.
And it also doesn't. It also doesn't help that it was under what was it, a 2-hour delay as well, 2-3 hours.
It was like 2-3 hours.
Yeah, it was for a while, definitely.
So. That's just kind of where I'm sitting with it. It's like, I'm cool ripping on Fox all day. Their coverage sucked this year. But if we're going to rip on Fox for things that they did wrong, I think we got to rip on NBC for things that have wrong NASCAR too.
Okay, now people are saying it wasn't even new episodes of America's Got Talent, it's reruns. What?
Oh, well then if it was a rerun, then yeah, no.
Okay,
that's
unacceptable
bad.
at that
That's
point.
bad then. Yeah, that's horrible if it was a rerun.
Obviously, we were not watching it.
We were at the racetrack, guys. We were at the racetrack. We don't know what's going on with that.
Randy Bowman in the chat brings up a good point. Remember 2008 when in the Phoenix Fall race, ABC turned off the race, put it to ESPN2 for AFV.
No, that's horrible.
That's what I'm saying. This is the same kind of thing, except at least AFV was big back then, and like America's Got Talent is, but at least AFV, it was a new episode.
Yeah, this is it was a rerun. Yeah, so look, I don't know who the next who's going to have the TV contract for NASCAR's next go around once it's up after 2024. But put it in the contract to where it's like, hey, let's keep it on whatever big channel we're on.
I'm just saying they pushed back Sunday Night Football pre-show coverage for NASCAR races in the early years of this contract, and now America's Got Talent reruns are more important to NBC. I mean, there have been the rumors that NBC's leaving after this contract.
Yeah, and stuff like that doesn't help. Definitely doesn't help for sure.
Yeah, so I'm like, don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna sit here and be a bootlicker for Fox and stuff. But at the same time, I'm not gonna do the same thing for NBC. They need to be held at the same standard that we're holding Fox at. It's actually above this, not right here.
Sorry, just a little side note, but Evan Neckel in the chat pointed out that America's Funniest Home Videos isn't even popular anymore because of YouTube. Because it's basically just every compilation channel on YouTube.
You can look it up on YouTube now.
Isn't Carlton the host of that now?
I didn't know it was still on.
Yeah, it's still on. Yeah, I think it's still on. I thought Carlton was the host.
I just go to watch those compilation channels on YouTube. Yeah, that.
Sometimes we'll go to Danny's house and watch those compilations.
We go to Danny's house to watch.
That's literally the nightly tradition.
Yeah, whenever we're at his place or whatever. Especially the Karen compilations. Oh, those are great. I love those.
Well, Fail Army, that's who it is. Yeah.
Well, moving on from kind of the stuff that happened on screen and between the coverages of the race. And going to what we're at after the race. The playoff cut line right now, it's starting to get to the point where we're knowing what the players are. So I'm going to read them off really quick. I'll read the 4 that we got above, even though some of them are 2 races worth of points, or about 2 races worth of points above, as well as the ones a race worth of points below. Ryan Blaney is currently plus 112. Truex is plus 73 after those really good runs to start the race in the first 2 stages. Christopher Bell plus 37, and now Kevin Harvick, chat, you're going to love this, is plus 9 inside the playoff cut line. Those below at the moment. Eric Almirola is -9. Then in 18th, Tyler Reddick, -52. Austin Dillon, -53. Eric Jones is -58. So with 9 races to go, have our opinions on the playoff cut line, is there any real change right now among you guys? Danny, start us off on this one.
No real change. I think it's point like unless it's like another Suarez situation. I think I think Harvick's going to get a good run of tracks. I think he's going to be fine. I think where it is, unless there's some sort of big Reddick wins, Jones, something like that. I think exactly where they are now is where they're going to finish.
It's very interesting because on paper, it looks like, basically we have most of the field set, right? Ryan Blaney plus 112. I think he'll be fine. If he doesn't win a race the rest of the season, I think he'll be good to go.
He's still got a good run of tracks that he won at last year coming up.
Exactly. So like of the 2 drivers who haven't won on this list so far, I mean, like everyone on this list hasn't won a race yet, obviously, but like of the if I had to pick 2 drivers that I think would get a win before the end of the season, definitely Ryan Blaney and Martin Truex Jr. I definitely think before the end of the regular season in these final 9 races, we'll get at least 1 win. But then you go from 15th all the way to 20th. And yes, while Christopher Bell did have an impressive turnaround, earlier in the season after a bad start to the year, just being plus 37 above the cut line. And also too, we still don't know yet how many different winners we're going to have in total. Because, I mean, we have 12 winners, and it was looking like, this weekend we were about to have 13 with MTJ. And then you take some other wild cards into account, like a Tyler Reddick and like an Eric Jones, who, I mean, when they're on, man.
Or even Buscher looked good at Sonoma. McDowell looked good at Sonoma.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, like 9 races to go. I mean, I know some fans, they've been clamoring like, hopefully we get 16 plus winners, 16 or more winners. I mean, it's still definitely a possibility. Do I think it'll happen? I think our peak will. Me personally, I think our peak could be 14 different winners, but we never know.
We still got 2 super speedway races, so don't count out Brad Keselowski.
Exactly. You don't count out. Don't count out a Brad Keselowski.
Brad Keselowski, Ricky Stenhouse, Bubba Wallace. Any of them guys are capable of winning there.
Exactly.
The races I'm kind of looking at for new winners. I feel like I'm gonna take the super speedways out of it for a second, because I think we know that those would be the ones that we could look at. But one of the big ones I'm looking at is New Hampshire. Christopher Bell, that's like his bread and butter track. Michigan, that's one that I think a Ryan Blaney could do well at. Tyler Reddick could do well at. Richmond being a short track, and the way that ended last time with fuel strategy, Kevin Harvick was right up there. And then Watkins Glen, we don't know yet with this new car just yet the full picture of if this could still be Chase Elliott's playground or not.
Let's not forget, you said Michigan. Austin Dillon was looking really fast there until he got crashed last year.
Yeah, before he got taken out.
That was a
like
vicious
his
crash
last
too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you guys were there in person.
Yeah. Right. So I'm looking at it, and very easily this thing could get shuffled either above or below. Again, if there's 3 more winners, which is a lot to ask, and the cut line becomes Blaney v. Truex, that would be the interesting one.
But also, too, don't forget, these road courses. We have Road America coming up this weekend. Who's a pretty damn good road course racer? Michael McDowell. Mm-hmm. And he's been running pretty damn good on tracks, that aren't road courses.
Do you know what his average finish has been since Dirt Bristol?
No.
11th.
Wow. So just imagine if he had a better start to the season, where he would be.
He has scored more points in that time than Kevin Harvick, William Byron, Alex Bowman, 2311 Racing, RCR. Like, Michael McDowell legitimately could get himself into the lower end of the points conversation. I don't think he'll make that up at this point, but he could legitimately be somebody that, if he makes the playoffs, could make it past the first round, which after that, who knows?
Sorry, I can't help but laugh. Darian said, imagine where he'd be if he had had a better start to the season. Well, he would have had to have won because he would just be 1 position higher.
Yeah, good point. But no, he's been running well. He's been running well these past few weeks, though.
Yeah, it's really interesting to look at with like how a lot of the comers and goers of the season have been so far. So that I don't think by any means that it's going to be like this. I think we're going to get at least one more winner from below the cut line, but it is pretty interesting to look at right now. Like, could Kevin Harvick or Eric Almirola run down any of those three ahead? I don't think Blaney, but I mean Truex, yeah, he had a great run, but he's been pretty on and off this year. So
I mean, I still wouldn't be surprised if we do get one more new winner that is below this top 20 right now.
Yeah,
there's so many possibilities with that.
I certainly think that Reddick is capable. It's just, can he put together a full race? And it's funny, I got to laugh because in the chat, Farkle 8000 said, remember at the start of the season when we heard that Danny didn't have Reddick in his preseason playoff predictions, and we all went crazy due to it. Well, I guess Danny's laughing now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not the first time. I'm the same guy that everyone laughed at when I said that Blaney would go out in the round of 16 in 2020, and that happened.
I mean, I called Alex Bowman winning 4 races last year.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be interesting, man. I think it's going to be really interesting. Kind of getting into a little more stuff from afterwards. Let's get into the ratings for this week. They're interesting. They're obviously,
I think all things considered, they're not bad.
Yeah. Well, and with last year being on NBCSN compared to this year with NBC, there is going to be that skew to it. But kind of looking at it right now, the race got a 1.81 rating and 2.921 million viewers, meaning it's up 21% in the ratings from NBCSN, which was run without rain, and up 13% in viewership. And it was higher watched. It was more watched than all but the exception of 2 races last year on NBC, on Big NBC. One of which that beat it would be the finale. NBC races have been hovering around that 3 million mark anyway, so having the first half there, that was a good sign in my opinion. Again, the network races have been a lot better than the cable races. Now, where we're kind of seeing some other stuff here that might not be as good is in the key demo, it was still under 600,000 viewers for the NBC portion, which is meaning that about 20% was in the 18 to 49 range. And then the big one here is Xfinity on USA was 25% lower in viewership and 18% lower in ratings than the comparable race in 2021. The literal only difference was USA Network compared to NBC Sports Network. I
think that is to be expected because there is still a large portion of just casual NASCAR fans that have no clue that it's even that the channel's even gone this year. They have no clue that it's on USA.
Now, quick question: which channel is in more households? Was it USA or NBCSN?
I think USA.
USA
by a wide margin.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah. To Danny's point, though, the problem is a lot of casual fans still. I don't think they're
not going out of their way to find out, what channel it's on. They're just looking for the channels, looking for the NASCAR race.
Do you want to hear the worst part of this? I didn't add it to the itinerary, but I have it in here.
What?
There were less viewers for the Cup race on USA when it got back to racing than the Xfinity race.
Oh, that's bad.
That's a problem.
That's bad.
And that goes into you saying it was not said well enough that it was going to be on USA or when to expect it on USA.
No, they kind of just announced it like towards the end of NBC's 2021 season. Like, hey, we're going off the NBC Sports is going off the air.
And they didn't get started racing again until 9 Central Time.
Yeah,
that'd be 10 Eastern Time. People have gone to bed at that point. They gave up the races even happening.
There was definitely a lot stacked against this race too. Yeah, and then when you put all the stuff in context, you can kind of understand why and stuff. But then it's like, dang, less viewers in the Xfinity race. Like, I didn't expect it to be that terrible, but
can't deny. We've seen the numbers. A lot of NASCAR's audience still is very much older, so. And it's also, there's a lot of older people on social media, but there's a ton that don't have it. So if they don't know it, they're not going to watch it.
Yeah, even my mom, when I was at the track, she was texting me like, hey, what channel is USA on? I'm like, you don't know? Like, you've had DirecTV for years. I was like, 242. Like, I know all the channels on DirecTV, like the back of my hand, man, because we had it for years. But yeah, I mean, even she was like, hey, what channel is this on or whatever. And it was funny, too, because she was the one saying, like, hey, are you watching the new Austin Dillon reality show or whatever? I'm like, dude, I'm not watching that stuff. And I'm like, then Like, you should know what channel it's on, right? But anyways, it's fine.
I'm also just realizing, I hope we never go into a situation where NASCAR is needing to be on a Monday because of rain and it's still raining and pushed into Monday night, but there's no way they're booting Monday Night Raw for NASCAR.
Oh yeah, I did. That's right. They do share the same network on there. That's right. Yeah,
I'm
that's
very
They share the same audience too.
Yeah.
Granted, it's a slim chance that happens, but if it does, I'm really curious how that goes down.
Oh, I'd imagine WWE Twitter would be very upset about having that.
I'd be there for that, man. I love some beef.
That would be great.
We would be having our own matches on Twitter.
Well, kind of going from those ratings, let's get to the ratings from you guys out there. The fans.
The poll, the famous Iceberg poll.
The poll participation was also influenced heavily from the delay. Seeing how I didn't get the poll out till about midnight when the race ended. So we did not get a new record by any means. Got about 13.7 thousand votes. So
Oh, wait, hold on. Is that considered one of your lowest votes turnout to the? Oh,
I think that's the lowest of the year.
Oh, that's a big vote. 13K is your lowest all year. That's a good problem to have, though. Yeah, I'll take that.
So looking at it right now, we got 20% saying it was a great race, 54% said it's good, so 74% net positive, 18% said it was average, 4% below, and 4% bad, meaning 8% net negative. Going into it right here, first comment. Let's be real, it's Denny Delivers. His was Kyle Busch winning in the pedigree car. Chase Elliott, no, that's illegal.
Oh, that's a video I have to do pretty soon. The pedigree curse.
They was with him when he wrecked Dale Jr. and after that it was cursed ever since.
Yeah, he's never won in the pedigree car, correct? Wow, after all these years.
I thought he has.
He has.
Dalton Goody's going nuts about it on Twitter. I think.
I'll have to look it up.
No, he hasn't. That's right. He hasn't.
Wow, after all these years. Yeah, after wrecking Junior, I guess it was all downhill from there. Just cursing left and right.
Well, anyway, looking at some of the other comments here. Top rated comment was from Christian Johnson saying, fantastic, clean racing, multiple grooves, limited tire fall off, and even strategy at the end.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Joseph Harrison says, pretty good racing. The only thing that really brought it down was the lightning and rain delays. I can agree. Which there was good attendance, contrary to the picture that me and Darian were in.
Dude, what are the odds? And like you were just like, you got your hands out.
I was born and raised in the Midwest.
That's funny.
Ain't nothing to me. Martin and Denny running side by side for like 5 laps for the lead, and that 3 wide battle that lasted 2 laps were both fantastic battles. That was really fun to watch. Now I'm seeing a lot of comments about this one. I'm sorry, that NASCAR's call there at the end not to throw a caution for Brad Keselowski was such BS.
Oh, yeah. No, it was total BS. Yeah. And
I think, my honest opinion, it had more to do with how late it was than it did who was leading.
Yeah, but if you're at that point, you might as well,
see, I saw some people arguing on Twitter talking about they were favoring Chase Elliott. I'm like, look, there's been a ton of cases where NASCAR has not favored Chase Elliott at all. I mean, did everybody forget the 2021 Daytona Road Course race? Remember that where Chase Elliott was clearly going to win that caution? Yeah, they had the Phantom Rainbow caution and stuff. So I don't know, NASCAR being inconsistent with calling those types of cautions is at this point extremely consistent. So I don't think it's like a conspiracy theory to get Chase Elliott more wins and stuff. I think if there was one more caution, then he probably still would have pulled away anyways and stuff and won. But yeah, no, in hindsight, yes. I mean, there was an earlier caution NASCAR had called for Josh Bilicki being slow on the track, and Keselowski was clearly slow on the track. They probably should have called it in hindsight. But yeah, to Danny's point, it wouldn't surprise me if they were just like, hey, it's late. I want to go home, man.
Gianna Carlino on here is someone who wasn't as much a fan of this race. Said couldn't pass the leader. Reminded me of a 550 race. Also not throwing a caution because Chase was leading. Shows inconsistency and bias. Again, I think we've covered that point so far.
Whoa, but hold on, I want to address the 550. Really?
I don't think it was as bad as a 550 race, but the aero problems were major in this one.
You saw, there were times, especially on the restart. Well, no, on the restarts, I felt like the most passing you were getting was like on the initial restarts, and then obviously like a few laps after the restarts, because you would see at times where they were going 3 or 4 wide. But then yes, once they got more, once the green flag laps ran longer and stuff, it got more spread out. And then even at one point, Kyle Busch had like a 3 to 4.4 second lead there too as well. So
yeah, I thought Kyle Busch was honestly like blowing up or something breaking because of how fast he lost that lead all of a sudden.
Yeah, but also too, to the track's credit, they did it. It has gotten to a point where they could use 2 lanes from time to time, and also, there were times where you could run down the leader. Now, let me say that again. Could run down the leader. Now, could you pass them? That was a little bit more difficult. So I see where she's coming from that. But to compare this race to a 550 race, I don't agree with that though.
Not exactly like a 550, but there were so many times I watched somebody in the top 10, like Elliott or Chastain, run someone down, get underneath them, and they're just stuck there.
And sometimes they would
550 race.
Sometimes they would overdrive it too, and definitely because they were just getting so frustrated from not being able to pass, and you would see them fall back, drop more spots.
A few people are also pointing out that this could be kind of an overreaction after the All-Star race incident.
Yeah, I think so too. But kind of looking more into some of these other comments here, I got to the bottom 4. If you guys want me to go over them. I'm making sure I can read them. Oh, okay. Yeah, I can. All right. Adam RTR says, awful race. Golden Boy had no business winning. I mean, he was the best car at
He was the best car.
Like he did. We got return of the...
It's not like he led 5 laps. He led, what, over 40?
Yeah, he led a lot.
We got return of the DILF. Terrible. We have Jacob NASCAR. What are you doing, Keselowski? Get off the track with your wreck chicane. Let's go, Elliott.
It didn't matter. Hey, it didn't matter. NASCAR wasn't calling it, so
and then
play no effect.
The lowest rated comment was from Ghost Kill 3, who says Mickey Mouse win as always. Crap track, just bulldozed the place.
No wonder.
Hey, to be fair, Chase himself don't like it. So.
Hey, no wonder fans started hating that meme I started, because now every win he gets, no matter if it's earned or not, they're always going to say it's a Mickey win for some reason. Sorry, Chase fans.
Well, that was the poll though.
Yes, thank you guys for voting on the famous Iceberg poll.
So we can kind of go through these last bits. The Xfinity and Truck race pretty quick here. Justin Allgaier, he was pretty dominant.
There was no beating him. No one had him or Priest, honestly, in the truck race. We'll get to that, but it was just a domination by Allgaier for that one.
Yeah, nobody was touching Allgaier all day. There were some notables, running inside the top 5, including Ty Gibbs and Sam Mayer. Yeah, they kind of got into it a little bit, though.
I will say I like the way the strategy really kind of churned up the finishing order to have different people up there, but I think the most interesting part of that race was Ty Gibbs versus Sam Mayer, or Mayer, the way it went. We got to talk to both of them after the race, and
they were surprisingly really chill.
Yeah,
because they were probably not very chill in the car.
Sam Mayer was extremely tired. I mean, he was happy he got a top 5, but man, he needed some assistance after the race. And but shout out to Trevor Bade, man, he got a runner-up finish. And
yeah, he was sitting there chatting with Jason Ratcliffe. And then Joe Gibbs come up and congratulate him on the 2nd place. And, we were right there at it when that happened. And, you could just see it on Trevor's face. He said, man, we're going to get one of these eventually. And I think Joe Gibbs kind of like, yeah, you are.
Yeah. He just needs more funding. I mean, I would love to see him in more races. I don't know if he would necessarily do a full-time season with Joe Gibbs racing at Xfinity.
You asked him about if there was plans for more races. What did he say to you?
He said it's just a matter of funding right now. He says it's that's just the frustrating part.
That's just NASCAR in general.
Yeah, so it's just one of those deals. They just need to get more funding together so he can do more races. Because I'm quite sure the fans would love to see him at the track more often too.
They're doing okay with Mahalo Coffee, but that's not going to fund a whole season of NASCAR.
Yeah. No. Well, outside the Xfinity race and the Cup race, there's one other that we can talk about. The one that was honestly probably the craziest race of the weekend, the truck race. Now, Ryan Preece was pretty much the most dominant one. Zane Smith led the early part, but Preece, he just took over and dominated. But I think the fun part that everyone was talking about after the race, there were 2 of them. Number one, the fact of Carson Hocevar versus John Hunter Nemechek. And Darren, you got falsely attributed this even by me at one point. Kind of tell us about after the race the way Hocevar responded to it.
Oh yeah. So somebody thought I had asked that question. I was like, no, I didn't ask that question. It was somebody else because Hocevar was looking somewhere else other than my camera, so I didn't ask it. But somebody asked him about like, hey, were you expecting John Hunter Nemechek to pay back you there? And then he said, no, it was his fault. I don't know. It was just the most.
I think it was a guy from Front Stretch who asked
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's the guy who asked that. Yeah, but John Hunter, he wrecked himself there. It had nothing to do with Carson there. But also too, Carson Hocevar was involved with the battling for the win there towards the end with Zane Smith and and I don't know how they even caught up to him so fast because like he had such a big lead and all of a sudden they were right there at him. I was like, where'd that come from? I legit thought that Priest had found a way to get me on Age NASCAR because I thought he was about to go out and just choke it right there. Yeah, credit to Zane Smith, man. It doesn't matter what track it is, road course, super speedway, intermediate track, short track. He runs well wherever he's at. So, I mean, if I were to pick a championship favorite as of right now in the Truck Series, it's clearly Zane Smith. And yeah.
Carson Hocevar is up there, though.
He's up there. He just needs to close the deal with the win. That's all he just needs to do.
If I'm not mistaken, Ryan Preece actually tied a record for the Truck Series at Nashville. I think the most wins in the Truck Series there was a tie with two drivers for two. So now I think he's in there with 2 wins.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because he's won back-to-back years there now.
Now the other big moment at the race happened towards finish 2 with a 4-wide dive bomb crash where poor Matt Benedetto got taken out. And I listen. We can meme him all you want,
but that wasn't his fault.
He has such bad luck.
And at first there was someone on Twitter, I won't mention name, but they were saying they completely missaw that because they were saying that Matt Benedetto should be suspended for that.
No. Ty Majeski, that was all his fault. And the worst part about that is Ty Majeski ended up scoring a top 5 there. So even after dive bombing and after all that, he still gets the top 5.
To be fair, Ty owned up to it in his interviews after the race. He admitted that, he wants to talk to Matt Benedetto. He didn't mean for it to go down like that. I didn't talk to Matt, but I saw Bob Chris and them. They talked to Matt. And Matt was pretty angry about it, rightfully so. But Ty definitely knew he was in the wrong there.
Yeah, but it wasn't Matty D's fault, guys. He was the victim. Come on now.
Now, kind of moving on from the race weekend individual race-wise, let's look at the overall one. There was a bit from at the track, some stories I had heard, some things that we knew going into the weekend, and the scheduling that kind of made this not as good of a weekend as it could have been. The racing, the thing with this weekend is the racing was not the problem. Racing was fine.
Oh no, there was
going into it, there were 2 things that just do not mesh well with NASCAR culture, and that's the no cooler policy and no outside alcohol policy.
I have to step in to say this. They contradicted themselves by not allowing coolers because actually, as fans were coming in and other places around the speedway, DoorDash was giving out free cooler bags to people. The ones that the DoorDash delivery drivers carry? They were giving those out to people for free.
Too bad you can't take them in.
If it were me, I'd be running back to my car and be like, hey, people that you brought to your track gave them to me. But
so there's those problems. They gotta change
that next year. They have to because I'm sorry, like this is part of NASCAR culture. This is one of the big selling points that anyone has to people. It's like, what can I do to go to a race? Bring your own beer.
I went to the fan zone on Sunday. I still saw fans of a cooler. So I don't know. I bet not all the security was enforcing this rule, but it's just the fact that it was every other SMI track will allow it. I love the people at Nashville Superspeedway, but I'm still befuddled at why that's a rule.
And it also doesn't help too that, you have this policy in place and you happen to be running all 3 most of your races happen to be starting at,
the hottest part of the day.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the middle of the freaking daytime, especially hot summer in Nashville, Tennessee, in Lebanon, Tennessee to be exact. Oh my gosh!
No,
Like,
it's
dude,
like
like
even
it was,
even
oh,
if
it
you
was
don't
bad.
even if you don't like alcohol in, like you gotta let people bring in at least some
Water
kind of
and stuff.
drinks
Yeah.
outside of what, because I mean, like last year they ran out of
Hmm.
of water. So
I don't know for sure, but I heard rumors that some concession stands that did again this year. But
and that's been most NASCAR tracks. I think that's the thing overall. SMI and ISC need to get like a hold of is like people, even if they're not watching as much on TV, more people than probably the last 4 or 5 years are coming to watch in person. You've got to be prepared for that.
what? Why do you think that is? Is it because of how low the attendance has been in the last few years that they don't know how much to prepare for anymore?
It might be that. I think there wasn't really this much of a problem pre-COVID. I think it was
Hmm.
just such a shift in business strategy. Maybe
Yeah.
that's it. But there's also one other thing I want to bring up. There weren't as many traffic. There wasn't like a big traffic jam like last year.
Oh,
But
I think having free parking helped that a ton.
and that did. But I gotta say, like they gotta get in line too with the local police with some of this stuff and those who are directing traffic because
I'll
there
just
were.
leave it. Oh,
Well,
okay,
I'll
sorry.
say it straight up.
Go ahead.
Like, there were people that were directing us to different parking lots, even though we had the right passes for it. And that's just an inconvenience. I got there early enough, it didn't matter. But I gotta say, I feel bad for IDK player out there. He left the track during the rain delay because we live 45 minutes away,
Mhm.
and the local police there threatened not to let him back in the track.
And I also got some a couple of sources have told me that he wasn't the only one. There were
No,
multiple
there were
fans
people
that
who were turned away.
no.
And,
So
and
basically, oh,
I can't understand this part because if it's the idea that someone just thinks that they can show up and just go into the race for free, I get that. But just to park in a free parking lot, and then the issue would be your ticket people at that point, not the people letting in for parking.
Yeah.
Your issue would be making sure your ticket people aren't just letting someone come in and say, "Oh, I was here earlier." If they might not even bought a ticket.
well, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because like there was nothing to do during that delay. If you were outside the track and stuff, we were under a freaking lightning warning, so it's like you had to duck and you had to take shelter anyways and stuff to be safe. But also, like, there were multiple fans that had DM'd me, that had DM'd Jared and stuff, that had told us during the race weekend, like, yeah, we tried to get back into the track, or the police wouldn't let us in. Like, IDK told me specifically, like, he basically had to basically show, like, all of his freaking information, and he had to basically prove, like he was basically talking to the cop for like 10 to 15
And they
minutes, I
still
think,
wouldn't
trying
let
to get in.
him, and they still wouldn't let him into that lot. He had to find a different lot to go into and
Yeah, they
basically
were like,
go around them.
yeah, so he was allowed in, but
And
they
I
had to
think
go to a different place.
where they were sending him, that would have been actually more risky, more likely to be towed from where they sent him.
And
Yeah.
also too, he happened to have his little cousin with him too. And I think this was one of her first races. So not a good fan experience. And it definitely doesn't leave a good impression on new fans who are trying to get into the sport if you're not allowing them back into the track.
But I will say though, that part right there though, it's like the speedway itself is not the ones enforcing that. So I don't know if I can necessarily put that blame on the speedway. It's
Oh, no,
it's more the people that they had in charge of
No,
it.
no,
They
I'm
just
gonna
need
put
to
it
be
on the
I
yeah.
think it's both because they need to be in unison with this. Other tracks don't have the same problem. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying this because I want to rip on them. I'm saying it because like I love going to this track. It's fun for me just to go in the infield as media and be up in the grandstands at times. I want this track to do well. So it's like this stuff has to be brought forward.
Yeah, they just gotta stop shooting themselves in the foot.
Yeah, it's like this has to be brought forward, or they're gonna Kentucky themselves, and that's what I'm worried. Yeah, I mean that should be a term.
I love
But
I love how that's the new saying now. Like, hey, don't be a Kentucky
Don't be a
student.
Kentucky.
Yeah.
But I think that covers everything from the weekend. We have tons of stuff from this weekend. So going into this, I'm gonna keep the timer on right here. Let's go into a couple minutes of super chats. Get to a few of them because you guys have been awesome so far.
Thank you guys.
So I'm just refreshing the page because there's so many. Good lord.
Sorry, I'm just saying that's a fast hour. I didn't really even talk for an hour. That was a fast
Man.
hour.
Man, time
It was-
flies when you're having fun.
A lot of a lot of fun. So let's look at what we got for tonight. So
Are you starting now?
Yeah, I'm starting right now.
All right, cool.
So we have Mrs. Jar Jar Binks with the 199 saying boo doo doo Harvick and this start these races earlier. I can agree with that, especially this week. I don't want to be boiling until 3 o'clock waiting for Road America. Darth Jar Jar Binks says These rumors are true. Misa no, these dark side. Okay. Then you got a lot of Jar Jar who says he thinks the race was very, very good, but there's a lot of problems. They thinks they need to start these races earlier. Also, what's my favorite romance novel? I've never read a romance novel, let alone NASCAR
All
one.
of them.
All of them, because I haven't read them. Jar Jar also thinks that Harvick's washed up and is a big doo-doo head, Karen. But I don't think he's washed up. Avatar Cora, thank you for the $4.99. Says the Avatar is wondering what is Jared's favorite NASCAR romance novel.
All of them.
All of them. The Avatar also issues a statement calling Logano a whiner boy and boos Harvick. No bias at all from the Avatar. Antar Das says that I don't care if NASCAR is expected to be inconsistent and a failure. However, that was a caution with 3 to go. I don't care if the race had gone on for 7 hours. The rules are the rules. They never seem to let me down. Damn.
Dang.
I don't blame him. This one I found pretty funny, and I want to say, just straight up, this is definitely a joke one. Alex Luff says he used to call Austin Dillon Peanut due to his peanut look from Jeff Dunham with his hair when it was up. But after seeing a preview for his reality show, his friend's hairdo puts Peanut's hair to shame. Damn.
Dude, he's roasting him.
I got to see Austin Dillon this weekend. It was pretty cool seeing him. Jay Creeder 175 says, I enjoyed the race, but if they plan on continuing to run in Tennessee in the summer, make it a night race, a lot cooler out. Overall, I give this race an 8 out of 10. Has potential to be a great track, in my opinion. I agree. Sunday night races would be the best for ratings and people at the track. I'm going to read 2 more here, and then we'll call it for now. John Vandeventer, thank you for the $4.99. Says, very unprofessional, Darian, last night at Indy for taking out Raw Gator. That was pretty bad.
Yeah,
and
it
then
happens.
Last one is Isaac. For $1.99 says, including Daytona Road Course, rank all the road courses from best to worst.
Road America is my favorite.
Yeah, Road America is my favorite. Then probably Watkins Glen. Daytona Road Course is third. Sonoma. I know I said Sonoma's my favorite, but it's just you gotta land.
Here, my most favorite is Road
there.
America. My least favorite is Sonoma. That makes it easier.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to rank them off the top of my head.
Yeah.
But thank you guys for your guys' support. We'll get to the rest of Super Chats at the end of the night. Roval's up there too. It's hard. Again, I can't remember them all.
Yeah,
This is
hard,
something
guys.
that you would need us to do a proper think about it and do a
IRL
video on.
stream idea. Woohoo!
There you go.
All right. But yeah, thank you for those Super Chats. And now I also want to thank one of tonight's sponsors, and that is Lionel. Look at this beautiful car. The beautiful car, Lionel car. Yes.
Lionel.
I want to thank Lionel, though, for their continued support of the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, which is the official diecast of NASCAR. You can order your new 2022 diecasts of all your favorite drivers at LionelRacing.com or any Lionel authorized retailer like Walmart, for instance. Guys, what kind of diecast do we have tonight to look at?
So you said that you can buy your new 2022 diecast. You can officially buy them now. I got one this weekend, the Alex Bowman number 48 Ally Chevrolet Next Gen diecast. I've got the 164 of that right here.
What about you, Darian?
And before you could drink an ice cold bottle of Dale or Sterling or Rusty, you could drink an ice cold Bobby, aka Bobby Allison. So this is a diecast from one of his last rides ever. Actually, no. This is the last car he drove before his career-ending injury. As a matter of fact, his number 12 Miller Lite Buick, but instead of Miller Lite, it just says Bobby Allison Motorsports. So yeah, one of my oldest diecasts I have, and yeah. So if you haven't drank an ice cold Bobby, go find one.
So I have Clint Boyer's Barstool paint scheme, what I like to call the red, white, and better than you paint scheme, back-to-back world champs for the 4th of July weekend, best weekend of the year. Gotta love America. Yeah, I love this car. It's beautiful.
Oh, sorry, I have to
Chef's kiss.
apologize. People, you can buy these at the merch haulers right now. They're not available online. My bad.
Oh, there you go.
Well, Either way, thank you again to Lionel for your support of the show. And now, Darian, do you hear that? It rained on Sunday, but is it?
Yes.
Yeah?
I do hear it, guys. While I am going to be saying the same thing, for those of you at home, don't worry. I am going to take it a little bit easier on you from now on. And it's the lightning round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. Hopefully that sounded a little bit better. Jarrett, what do we have on tap for tonight?
Didn't peek out the mic, so good job. Going into, we don't have too much in the lightning round because we got a lot to talk about later in the show. First off, Dale Jr. has announced that August 30th and 31st are the dates that he'll be in a late model at North Wilkesboro, according to the Dale Jr. download.
And has the Iceberg announced that he will be there?
No, because I'll be on the podcast that night. It's a Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah.
We wouldn't judge you if you skipped.
I'm not gonna say I haven't missed an episode yet, and by that point we'll be over 200, so I ain't skipping. But if you are gonna want to be there, those tickets are only $15. So
Dang.
even though we can't be there, support the North Wilkesboro Speedway as much as you can. We definitely want to see that come back one day. Also, for 2023, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has been extended with JTG. Yes, I made a rhyme out of it. Josh Berry said he is interested in running in the Cup Series, as is JRM. We'll talk about that in a bit. Eric Jones has said he is close to an extension with Petty GMS as well. Also, this is one. NASCAR has worked with the Earnhardt Estate, a.k.a. the Wicked Witch of the South, for the last year to create a new Dale Earnhardt line of gear and merchandise, seeing how it is so much in style right now, according to Adam Stern.
How much do they make?
Yeah, how much does the witch make? NASCAR also has changed some policies in the rule book. They've changed Atlanta qualifying to a super speedway style qualifying with 2 rounds of 1 lap each, according to Jeff Gluck. And now at road courses, instead of being optional, windshield wipers are now the norm and are required at every road course.
I think that's fine. Just having that ready.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the lightning round for tonight.
Yes, and that'll do it for this edition of the Lightning Round on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast. And now, back to the show.
Well, before we get into any other subjects for tonight, I want to thank our other sponsor of the show, and that, of course, is Forney. Everyone leaving the chat for Forney, getting green for Forney as well. Get it done with green. Forney offers a full line of welding and plasma cutting machines, metalworking, and metalworking accessories, and more. For do-it-yourselfers and all the way professional metalworkers, Forney has everything for you to get your next project done. So shop Forney's top-of-the-line products at forneyInd.com or at an authorized Forney dealer near you. That is FORNEYIND.com, forneyInd.com, or an authorized Forney dealer. Now, guys, we got a lot of big storylines to kind of go over. We actually have 4 major ones to talk about before we get to Road America. And the first one of these is JR Motorsports possibly going to the Cup Series. So a little backstory on this. Dale Jr. kind of first blew the whistle on this.
I don't think that's a reliable source.
Nah.
Are we sure?
Nah, I don't know, man. Maybe not. But Dale Jr., yeah, he blew the whistle on this. Live in Nashville for the Dale Jr. download. And then Kelly Earnhardt had said that JRM is not looking for 2023 for Cup racing, but a lot further down the road, playing the long game with the charters and stuff. So I want to kind of start off with you guys. Danny, you can lead us off. Who do they go with as a driver? Because I think we all know they're going Chevy, and probably either the 81 or the 88 number. So who's the driver that you see them doing this with around 24 or 25?
Depends on if he's found anything. I mean, Gregson would be a name. Barry potentially too. And I think a lot of it just depends on who's a big name that's still not wanting to be done, but might be an option. All we know is that, and we'll talk about this more later, but all we know is that MTJ is around for next season. We don't know if he wants to stick around after that. At this point, we don't know what Kyle Busch's situation looks like forever because of the fact that, we don't know his sponsor for next season. So, that there is, a few things that could become an option down the road. Depending on whenever they do it, what's Tyler Reddick doing at that point? You know, there's so many what ifs at this point on it.
This is exactly what the sport needs. We need Dale Jr.'s team in the top series. I mean, they've been a perennial championship contender in the Xfinity series for years. I still remember when Junior Motorsports first started and they didn't even have a Hendrick Alliance at the time. So Junior's known, I mean, he's known to take chances on certain drivers and stuff. Sometimes they pay off, sometimes they don't. But if that team were to enter the Cup Series, I feel like they would have a lot of pull right out of the gate. Because first off, it's freaking Dale Jr. He's the most popular driver in the sport. I'm quite sure there's going to be a lot of drivers that would love to drive for him. Okay, now would they be a dominant team out of the gate? Of course not. But I mean, with how good Trackhouse has done, and with how good 2311 has done at the time, so far this year as well. From time to time, I mean, I could see the expectations for Junior Motorsports, you know, coming into the Cup Series being a tad bit high to sort of match what those teams did in their first seasons. Whether it's, you know, like if they don't win a race right away in their first season, I don't think it'll be a big deal, but I think they are going to be expected to run at least decent. I think that's fair enough to expect that when you have an alliance with Hendrick Motorsports and stuff. But when I'm talking about the pull they could get immediately when joining the Cup Series, I mean, I would even say like I think driving for Junior Motorsports in the Cup Series would be extremely intriguing for even some of the top guys who are on secure teams. Like, you don't think that would have to be running in their heads like, ooh, like when does my contract end here? You know, like let's see,
I don't know. I don't know just yet because it is still an unproven team, and Cup and Xfinity are so different. If it's me, I say short term. If they start up in 24, Josh Berry. Do him as a short term. He's a solid driver, takes care of his equipment. I think he would be the right one to do for a short term.
And he's older guy, so he's not going to have forever in his career.
Exactly.
So give him a shot.
I would see three options personally. I mean, you could either go with Josh Berry, who's already been there, or Noah Gragson. He would definitely get a ton of hype early on, right out the gate.
Justin Allgaier would be one just because he has sponsorship secured.
I was just about to say Allgaier is my third option too.
And he has experience running a Cup schedule. Even though the circumstances weren't that good, it wasn't the greatest team in the world, he does have that experience.
But if we want to have a little fun with this, you know, let's explore some outside of the box options here. So Jared, why don't you start with us here? If you were expecting, so let's say all goes according to plan, let's say they go full time in the Cup Series by 2024. If they were able to look at some outside options, who do you think would be some of those best
Tyler Reddick right there.
I mean,
if you're going to have an alliance with Hendrick Motorsports, similar to SHR did, you got to go with him because I still think in house, if Sam Mayer pans out, which I think he has the talent to do so, he'd be the option. Just because HMS, I think they're set at the moment. But I'd go Tyler Reddick all the way.
And if they did go Tyler Reddick, I'd say get the 8 from RCR even.
That would be cool
if they're able to work out that deal.
Yeah, I think RCR could easily go back to having the number 29 or something like that.
31 even.
Well, someone's got that already now.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I always forget that they haven't been up front that much.
Probably the 29. You know, if Junior Motorsports came in, I think
33 maybe. Might be one.
That one's kind of floated because Penske had that last year. So either 29 or 33. But hey, I think if Dale Jr. came to Richard Childress and asked, "Can I have the 8?" I think he'd probably let him have it.
If we're going to talk about more outside options too, I mean, I don't know when his contract is up per se too, but I mean, you know, again, this is Junior Motorsports we're talking about. They're not going to be a dominant team out of the gate, but they are going to be, without a doubt, one of the most recognizable teams all of the new NASCAR teams that come into the sport in recent years. Imagine if you had a guy like let's say a Ryan Blaney perhaps is like, his contract might be up. Solid, maybe he wants to, that would be a solid option too. Or let's say, you know, maybe an Alex Bowman goes back to drive in the 88. Hey, you never know, you know? So, I mean, this is the type of pool that team has. I mean, like, of all the teams and stuff that are coming into the sport, like, yes, you know, it's great to have a Michael Jordan and a Pitbull, you know, coming in and, you know, winning races, you know, by their second season in the Cup Series. But there would be a lot of intrigue to drive for Dale Jr. right away, even from the top guys, I'd say.
Well, I think a lot of intrigue, too, can be can be also towards who is still in the Cup Series right now, and that'll get to our next subject. But before we get into that subject, let's let in our fourth host at the moment.
Oh, he's here?
Yeah, he's here.
Finally! Oh,
In the dark and all.
He is. Oh my gosh.
The
Eric.
traffic of Arkansas has finally released him.
Eric, but what's up with your lighting though?
I forgot to pay the power bill. No, here we go. There we go.
There
Now
you
we're back.
go. Hey, and
How's
of
it going,
course, he's
man?
wearing the Dr. Pepper shirt. Now I know for sure you're back in Texas.
Yeah, no, good to be back. Sorry I had to miss last week. I got to Tennessee, got to that beautiful pool table y'all were recording at last week, and nobody was there. I was all by myself. I was like, where did Danny, Darian, and Jarrett go?
We were working.
Yeah, no, it's good to see you guys. Good to be back for at least the final third or so of the episode. The most important part, the picks, when we start previewing the coming race. I'm excited about it. But
I bet you are with how well you did this week.
did I do well?
You picked Chase
we'll talk
Elliott.
about that. Yeah.
I did pick Chase. I forgot. I
And,
picked
and,
Chase.
so, and so did the chat, and those have some huge championship implications. We'll talk about that later. But really quick, before we change subjects, we were just talking about Junior Motorsports potentially coming into the Cup Series in the future. Eric, you end us on that subject. What do you think of the possibility of Junior Motorsports running full time, and who could you see running in that car? Even as far as outsiders are concerned.
So I did not, full disclosure, I was finishing getting my suitcase out of the car. I didn't hear what you guys were saying on the topic, so I don't want to repeat anything else said. But I think it'd be really cool if they come to Cup. I think they will. I don't think it'll be full time next year or even the year after. I don't think it'll be till 2025 that we see them full time. Maybe that's too far out there, but I won't be shocked if we see a JRM car on track at some point next year, 1 or 2 races. If they do a part-time schedule next year, I think Allgaier, if Gregson hasn't gotten a full-time gig somewhere else, in the Cup Series, maybe Gregson runs that car a couple times. But 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, full-time, I don't know. I just think things will change. I did hear one of y'all made a comment a few moments ago that what if they could get the 8 car, the number 8 back from RCR? I do think that would be cool, but heck, even if they just bring the 88, back.
I wouldn't mind that neither. Yeah.
I think it would be either a combination of the 8, 88, or 81 that he was originally considering taking when he went to Hendrick.
Ooh, yeah, I would love to see those numbers. Imagine seeing the 81 back in the Cup Series.
I kind of wonder, hey, if the right track presented itself. We've seen Dale Jr. test a next gen car before, leading up to the Clash. They was testing at Bowman Gray Stadium. Would Junior consider making a race? Would Junior run the Clash in his own car?
If they ran at North Wilkesboro or the fairgrounds, the Cup Series I'm talking about, probably an exhibition race. Yeah, I think he'd consider it for sure.
See, I want to bring up something else about this. We've had a lot of debate over the years about this. Fans I know on social media are like, oh, they can't be there next year because of the charter system. Like, I think that if you look at the way that the sport is trending in the next 3 to 5, maybe 10 years, you're looking at the point where a lot of these sort of lower end teams are kind of getting shoved back or having to sell extra charters. And I think that's like the initial goal of the charter system is now instead of 25 competitive teams like we had maybe in 2016, 17, 18, now we have like 30 competitive teams that could easily make the playoffs. And now you're adding JRM probably for, I don't know, I'd assume JTG would be the best team that would give up a charter to them. Like,
I'd heard them or maybe Spire would sacrifice one.
JTG, they just signed Stenhouse for a couple of years, so it maybe in 2025, sure, but I don't think it'll be until then.
It'd be a strong. I'm thinking we're getting a stronger field building up over time with better equipment because either way, I think JRM is going to outperform JTG, Spire, Live Fast, whoever it might be.
I think it would be Spire because originally they had like 3 charters and then was going to go down to 1 and then they got a second one back. Mm-hmm. So they've got them. They've shown already they are willing to spare them. I think that's who I would see it come from.
But it's really unclear what their plan is, I feel like this year they thought Corey LaJoie maybe would be a top 20 contender and he hasn't been. So like they might need to rethink things.
Yeah.
No, but I think overall that kind of gets the gist of everything with JRM. I think that's just going to be one I think we're going to learn a lot more about towards the end of the year. I want to know what races they'll go part-time with and who the driver will be. That's my big thing.
Hopefully Junior can at least run one. If he doesn't, I get it. He's
I don't think he will next year.
No.
Whenever they come, if they do it part-time, I think we've obviously seen part of the selling factor for their sponsors with the Xfinity program is the fact that they can get junior in a race. That they've been open about that. That it does help them sell sponsorship to their other drivers. That if Hellman's Mayonnaise knows that they can get with Dale Jr. for one race, they're fine being with Justin Allgaier for other races too.
Mm-hmm. Well, kind of going though from not knowing for sure what 2023 is looking at to knowing exactly what 2023 is looking at, Martin Truex Jr. So it was announced by Truex this week, and I love how it's basically just I'm coming back was his announcement.
And Danny, you was there. You was there. You was right there too.
Yep, I was right there, and I was surprised at how just nonchalantly he's like, "Yo, yeah, I'll be back."
Yeah, I'll be back, yo.
So with that, Danny, lead us off. I want to know each of your guys' thoughts. Is 2023 going to be it, or is it just 2022? I thought 2022 was going to be it.
I was at the point where I was saying, if you're a Truex fan, start buying all the tickets you can because you want to see us goodbye tour. But hey, he surprised me. I remember looking at our buddy Peter, and I said, what do you want to bet the first question someone asks is going to be if he's retiring? And he said, oh, I guarantee it will be. And then sure enough, that was the first question. I think it was Jordan Bianchi asked it. And I was expecting to get some kind of answer like, well, if the moon is right and if the settings are right, you never know about what could be the end. And I was expecting something like that. And he's like, nope, I'll be back. See you next year.
Yeah, put those rumors to bed right away.
So, Eric, what do you think? Think 2023 is it?
I mean, it sounds like it's going to be year to year. I really don't know. I think it really comes down to, if he struggles this year, like maybe he's probably going to make the playoffs, but maybe he's out early and then struggles for the first half of next year, then he might call it quits for racing reasons. But I think mostly it's going to be personal. And if he still feels like he can manage a full-time schedule and do what he needs to and wants to do in his personal life, then I don't see why he wouldn't come back for another year. But I guess, kind of like Danny, I assumed this was it. The way he'd been talking the last few weeks, it sounded like he was already halfway out the door, and he kept saying, I want to be 100% committed if I'm going to do this. He didn't sound 100% committed right now. At least the last few weeks he hasn't. So I was surprised that he announced he was coming back, but we'll see. We'll see where we sit a year from now. I think we'll have the same conversation.
I do want to point this out. People are saying depends on what happens with Sherry, and it's a situation that, stay out of it to a certain degree. But, if something was to happen, he needs to be with her more. That's one of those situations. I know Joe Gibbs seems like the kind of person to say, go focus on being with her. We'll get someone else in the car if it really comes down to that.
I think that will be a big influence.
I mean, they've now shown there's, potential of someone like a Trevor Bayne, even who's in that loop. If they needed somebody, they would probably call on Trevor Bayne to come finish a season.
Or a John Hunter Nemechek.
They would have someone there if all of a sudden, okay, Martin needs to step aside.
Yeah. See, this was it surprised me because after Gateway, I got like that vibe from the media center where everyone was like talking about him, where it was like, oh yeah, John Hunter's probably gonna be in the car next year. I'm like, damn, like I didn't realize that was the consensus.
Yeah, they were sure about it.
So I guess Darian, I'll start this with you. Let's say if he does retire next year, is this kind of lining up Ty Gibbs either way to be in Cup in 2024, or? I
mean, it looks like no. I don't think you're jumping the gun. I think you'd be jumping the gun if you were expecting Ty Gibbs to be in the 19 Cup Series ride next year. It would have been like, no, give it a few more years. But since Ty Gibbs is scheduled to be in the Xfinity Series full time for 2023. And then, MTJ says, hey, I'll be back for 2023. It would make sense if, after 2023, there be some sort of agreement where it's like, okay, he races one more year and then Ty Gibbs is ready to move up for 2024. So yeah, I could totally see that scenario happening. It makes perfect sense. Or perhaps, I don't know. You never know what the situation will be with Kurt Busch as well. He's well into his career, so.
Kurt Busch has a multi-year contract, and I don't know how long multi-year is exactly.
So just 2 years. It could be just two.
It could be just two, and if it is, I think that makes sense for Monster Energy to then say goodbye, Kurt, and go to their Xfinity driver.
And also, there's been rumors before. I think I can remember as far as back in 2019, there were rumors that Kurt Busch might decide to retire depending on what happens and stuff like that. So I don't know. I guess it's a year-to-year thing. The same with Martin Truex Jr. But yeah, as far as the 19 is concerned, it looks like they won't have to worry about having a new driver in there next year. Now, does Martin Truex Jr. retire after the 2023 season? I mean, we still don't know yet. It's going to come down to
if I was a betting man, I would put a bet on him probably making next year his last year.
We would have lost money this year if we did that.
We would have lost money this year, but I would say there's a strong chance next year is the last season.
Yeah,
you never know. But
I would think so too.
But it seems like they're in good hands though, no matter who's driving that. It seems like they have a pretty good development program, so they'll find a replacement if needed.
I mean, hell, for all we know, it could be the guy we're about to talk about next. Sounds like from rumors, and IDK brought this up last week. I should have known to trust him, seeing how he knows some people connected with this. But it looks like Elio Castroneves is looking to participate in the 2023 Daytona 500. SRX CEO Don Hawk has called teams about it, has said that he's received calls from teams about it. And so I want to go around with you guys. We don't have to spend too much time on this, but I want to know from you guys, what are his chances at Daytona next year if he does do this? And Danny, start us off with this one.
So I think if it's Don Hawk is behind this, Don Hawk has a ton of connections. I think he could easily get one of his sponsors from the SRX series to come on to that. One company that comes to my mind is Progressive. I think we've seen them briefly with Newman's car. I think I could see Progressive want to hop on something like this potentially to have a spot in the Daytona 500. There is Camping World, who has shown a lot of interest in NASCAR over the years and all series. So I think any of their brands that sponsor SRX could come into that deal, and I think Don Hawk can make it happen. I think at this point, from what I know about Don Hawk, everyone in the garage has a great respect for him. Likely, I would see it being the Trackhouse Racing deal. I mean, he got Justin Marks to race in the race this weekend. So ideally, if you ask me, I think Don will make it happen. And what comes to my mind is that we would see Elio in the 91, maybe Progressive car. So all you paint scheme designers, if you want to start making a 91 Progressive car, have at it.
Yeah, it seems like to me that the Trackhouse. Oh, go ahead.
Well, that's something kind of like going back to the main question though. What do you think his odds are doing the
I think
500?
They're extremely high, I think, and especially since Trackhouse Racing, they're already promoting this Project 91 car team, and it's going to debut this season with freaking Kimi Räikkönen, a former F1 world champion, making his Cup Series debut. I mean, man, the sport is crazy in 2022. So, yeah, I could easily see him running the Daytona 500 next year.
The big question for me, though, is what does NASCAR require of him? Do they require him to run an ARCA race or something like that to get some experience?
They changed the policy recently.
There's going to be a test. They're going to allow them to do like a test.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as he gets some kind of track time, whatever that is, a test, whatever, another series, whatever.
I want to chime in because I actually listened to it. I've not finished listening to this episode, but Justin Marks was on Dale Jr.'s podcast this week. And he did say that the idea of Helio Castroneves running the 91 car next year, he didn't know anything about the bet that he'd made with Don Hawk until after it was like talked about on TV. He didn't know anything about that when he agreed to drive the car this weekend in the SRX, and that's just what he's saying. Maybe there is still a connection there. Obviously, Don Hawk has both of their contact information and can make things happen, but he also said that he sounded skeptical. Let me put it this way. He sounded skeptical that they would put Castroneves in a car for the Daytona 500, which was surprising to me to hear because the Daytona 500 is the biggest race. Yeah, it's one of the hardest ones to race into if you're not a chartered team. There's the duels. Anything can happen. There's usually a lot more than 40 cars entered. But, I feel like they can get a sponsor. The purse money, if they make the race, is higher than pretty much any other race, even if you finish in the back. So I was a little surprised to hear Justin Marks sound a little skeptical about that. Obviously, it's 8 months away. A lot can happen, a lot can change, but I still think Cash Nevis will run the 500. It sounds like that's going to happen. It just may not be with Trackhouse. But as long as it's not with, literally a Rick Ware or like
I was about to say that.
or a Live Fast car, I think he has a
44.
legit.
Hey, why not? Hey, why not a Rick Ware racing
If
car?
they leave-
man?
if he has-
no money team, no to 27 car.
Yeah, if he has, actually the money team, he could maybe make something happen with, because I think they got some help from RCR, right? Or am I wrong?
Yeah.
I think if they at least have an A or a B motor under the hood, he can be competitive and at least maybe finish in the top 20.
I will say, maybe a Rick Ware car could work if they do the SHR alliance.
Hey, I'll throw this team out here because hey, he's ran for them in the past for many years prior to 2021. What about a Team Penske perhaps having a fourth car? I mean, that'd be a lot. That'd be a lot.
Down
But
this week.
oh, did they? Okay,
Yeah, I thought that was like a rumor that it got shot down.
Oh,
What if it's JRM? We
Hey,
just got done
you never
talking
know.
about him.
Why not, man? Anything's on the table, right? But honestly, yeah, no. My best choice would be the 91, the Project Trackhouse 91 car. I think that'd be the best.
Now,
probably.
Most of us are saying Daytona 500, maybe, but also if rumor of getting rid of the Indy Road Course and going back to the oval configuration.
He said Daytona 500, and that was also from people that IDK knows that are pretty close to him, who said it's a Daytona 500.
Yeah, no, he's close.
If that, I hope the deal works out, but I also would like to see him at Indy in a stock car.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it.
If Indy does turn into the Brickyard, I want to see him try the Brickyard, similar to what Montoya did in 2015.
I'm perfectly fine with him running more than one NASCAR race. So I'm saying that.
Yeah.
But I would love to see him climb the fence at the Daytona 500 if he somehow won it. I know he probably won't. It's such a long shot, but that would be so cool. But then one last thing to get to before we go to Road America this weekend. Another really quick one. But Fox Sports has been pushing to see the All-Star race moved every year like the MLB. So I want you guys to give me what track immediately comes to your mind, where to. Let's just throw out the window even the SMI part of it. Just what track do you want to see as the All-Star race? Eric, start us off.
Well, I'll go ahead and just for the sake of realism, I'll keep it with SMI because I think they have a lot of great options. If they want to stay in the North Texas market, which is a huge and very deserving market, go to the Cotton Bowl, go to AT&T Stadium, see if you can fit something in there. I don't know if it's physically possible, but give it a shot. At least have those conversations. If they want to go maybe old school with it, and as we've said before, they're comparing it to MLB, do their own Field of Dreams game, go to North Wilkesboro once it's repaved next year. And yeah, maybe only 5,000-10,000 people can buy tickets, but it'll be a made-for-TV spectacle. And it'll feel like an all-star event, NASCAR style.
You know what? I say, how about this? Let's just keep it at Texas. Psych. No, I'm just playing. Anyways, so I'd say, there's a ton of options here too. I mean, to Eric's point, you could, do the stadium options as well. There's a lot of stadiums, especially down south, like college football is a huge thing. So if you wanted to maybe, I don't know, like if I'm just going to throw some college football stadiums out there. If you wanted to maybe move the Clash at the Coliseum to the All-Star race at the Coliseum, I wouldn't mind that neither. Also, as far as some tracks currently on the schedule, if you want to rotate it into some big markets, Las Vegas is such a growing market, you want to rotate it there. And if you someday do get this track on the schedule, I would love to see the fairgrounds get an all-star race, if it is fully revamped, and if it does reach the standards to holding a NASCAR Cup Series race, I would love to see that. There's a lot they could do with this. I mean, it especially helps that the next gen car is really good at a lot of places. So I wouldn't mind it seeing it at an intermediate racetrack or a super speedway or a short track release. There's a lot of options as well. So I like it.
What about you, Danny?
Well, if I got to consider it staying with SMI, hey, how about throw them a curveball and a track that we haven't raced at with this car in a few years? Let's go back to Kentucky Speedway. It's still part of their ownership group, but only if we're doing it rotating, make the first one back with them, then we go to another track after that.
Darian, oh my God.
I'm sorry, I was not expecting that. I'm sorry. Hold on, I gotta mute myself. Excuse me.
Hey, bigger than the Daytona 500. Remember?
Okay, fine, Darian. Just for you, I'll have him go to Texas right after Kentucky. I hope you're happy.
Oh gosh, but that's the thing. That's the thing that people are forgetting.
No, in all reality, if I want to go outside of SMI, because that's what I'd rather do. Let's go to Gateway. Let's go to Gateway under the lights for an all-star race. I think that atmosphere of being that close to St. Louis was kind of fun. Let's go have a Saturday night in St. Louis for that one.
See, if it's me, I got two options. I'm thinking, seeing how we're doing it yearly, you one and done with it. You can go back to Charlotte week before the 600 or weekend of the 600, whatever works. Get that momentum built up. Have all the teams at home. They can stop complaining about one off weekend because it's basically one when you're at home for 2 weeks. Or go to the fairgrounds, like Darian said. They're pushing the fairgrounds so much. You could probably get Dale Jr. to come back for that one, like we were talking about earlier. And Chase Elliott absolutely destroyed the Nashville Superspeedway this weekend, wanting to get the fairgrounds.
I asked him on Friday. He was a lot more angry. I even tried to come back at him after he won at the Superspeedway, and his answer was, well, today was a good day, but next year might not be.
Oh, uh-oh.
Now, I put out a poll on here really quick while we're all talking and stuff, using just different ones. I asked, where would you like him to go? Wilkesboro, a stadium, fairgrounds, back to Charlotte. Wilkesboro was winning by a large margin, 45%.
I just thought of this other option too. Bowman Gray. Ooh, that would be crazy if they were able to make that work.
I'd be cool with it.
Yeah.
Can you add Kentucky to the poll, Jared? I want to see if they get so many votes he gets.
I didn't want to do that one just because I know that that would get bulldozed.
I do know there's a fair amount of people who do miss Kentucky, so I got to give them some love.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to remind the fans this too. If the All-Star race does rotate, just FYI, that means we have 2 Texas Motor Speedway points races again. So just want to let you guys know. Just want to let y'all know.
It's the contract.
Yeah. So sorry. Just want to let y'all know.
We were talking about that in the media center when we were leaving. We're just like, people do realize there'd be a second points in Texas
so like
race, right?
they were getting excited, but I'm like, hey, whoa, y'all do realize what this means too, right?
Gossage isn't in charge over there. Maybe they can move a Texas date somewhere out to a different SMI track. Maybe. I'm just saying maybe. It's not any Gossage anymore.
Or we could just blow up the track, you know.
Damn, man. Dude, you're going to get put on an FBI watch list.
Darian, I hate to break this to you, man, but there's a lot of people who work there and don't want to see that happen.
That's all you gotta say for yourself?
Sorry. I'm sorry.
Brutal. I'm ending the poll now. We got our answer for what we want. By the way, we got 440 people watching, 212 likes. Click that like button,
the
y'all.
like button, everybody.
Let's see if we can get over 300 by the end of the night.
Let's blow up Texas,
I like that. J-Rod said, Iceberg, I like your shirt. There's nothing on it.
Exactly.
It's like the first shirt I've worn in a while that doesn't have anything on it.
I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
I like your shirt. I'm like, wait.
There's
nothing on it. All right, we're getting some good vibes in here. Let's bring those all the way up to Wisconsin. To Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin for Road America this weekend.
Get some cheese, yes.
Yes, some cheese curds. And we get to see Mother Nature too.
Yeah, we get to go to a nature preserve with a racetrack.
Maybe a deer will lick Jarrett.
That happened on my run this week. Thank you for reminding me of that. I was running this week, and a deer, straight up a doe, came up to me and just started licking my arm. I didn't know whether to be scared or think it was awesome.
That's cool.
You lived, so I'd say that's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, like in hindsight. But in the moment, I was just like,
okay. Knowing me, the deer probably would have snuck up on me, so I would have been like, elbows.
Since I don't know, like, what does the deer's tongue feel like when it licks you?
You ever like had a cow like lick your hand or something, like with
all
like
the
a salt
time
lick or something, or like a horse or something, like just like that.
All I know is I know cats have like a very scratchy tongue for whatever reason, so I don't know.
Like that. Yeah, it's kind of
like a giraffe where it's just going at you.
No, it's like Gene
like a
Simmons.
Damn cobra.
Well, that's all you had to say. Just Gene Simmons. Come on up,
Gene
man.
Simmons. All right, let's get to Wisconsin and get away.
You
from
ask the deer before he licks you. Hey, how's that tongue work?
Darren, it's not a deer to you. It's a deerie.
yeah.
Dairy. That's right.
All right. Well, let's get to the business at hand this week, and that is
Jared's
the
a Disney
racing.
princess confirmed. That's good. That's funny.
He's Dr. Doolittle.
Let's get to the race because let's get to the race. So we got 2 races this weekend. We have the Xfinity race, the Henry 180.
Next week it'll be the Gerald 200.
And then after that, it's the John 450. Well, speaking of 4.5, we have 45 laps in this race this week. A 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time start time on USA and MRN. Weather looking a lot better than it did earlier in the week. It was looking like it was going to be high 60s, low 70s, and rainy. Nope. It's going to be 86 degrees, mostly sunny, 3% chance of rain. Our defending winner is Kyle Busch, so there'll be a new winner this year. The Cup race, though, is the Quick Trip 250 presented by Jockey, made in America.
God, it's a mouthful. I love how you go from the Henry 180 to the.
Side note, I'm just imagining someone in the marketing department at Road America gets a call. Hello, how can I help you? Yeah, I'd like to sponsor your Xfinity Series race. Okay, great. What's your company? No company. My name's Henry.
It's the Henry 180 too. That's the best part. But the Quick Trip 250 presented by Jockey Made in America is 62 laps long. Starts at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Also on USA and MRN. Weather looking pretty good for that one. 81 degrees Fahrenheit. Partly sunny. 11% chance of rain. And your defending winner in that one will be racing this race because that is Chase Elliott. Darian, who are the ones we should be betting on?
Yes, the famous betting odds on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast, and hopefully I can get through this entire segment without sneezing. So let's hopefully I can do that.
That's how we'll blow out the mic this week.
The favorites for this weekend's betting are Chase Elliott at plus 500, Kyle Larson plus 600, Ross Chastain plus 800, Kyle Busch plus 900, and finally rounding up the top 5 is Denny Hamlin at plus 1,200. As for the best of the rest, Martin Truex Jr., Ryan Blaney, and Joey Logano all entered this weekend at plus 1,200 as well, followed by Christopher Bell at plus 1,500 and Daniel Suarez at plus 2,000. Now, as for the underdogs, this is how you can definitely tell some of these odds makers really don't watch racing like that, because these are some real steals. Austin Cindric's an underdog at plus 2,000, followed by AJ Allmendinger as well. Chris Buescher, who just finished runner-up to Daniel Suarez at Sonoma, the last road course we've ran so far this season up to this point. He enters this weekend at plus 3,500. Kevin Harvick is plus 4,000. And finally, Michael McDowell is plus 5,000. So those guys are some pretty damn good road course racers. I don't know why they're being this disrespected, but hey, take advantage of the odds makers' stupidity here and get you some money,
because it's funny. We're on the grid this week walking down. We see Austin Cindric. I go over to ask him, is it true that he's an Avatar fan? He is. Awesome. And Darian just goes, oh, so Road America's this week. Sure win, right? It's like win in the bag. He's just like,
I said close enough.
Great. Now we know who's losing.
He just said he's really looking forward to Road America. Let's just put it
Didn't he lead a couple laps there last year in the 33?
He was running up front, and I think he would have been in contention for the win if he didn't have mechanical failures. Mm-hmm. So yeah. So it's safe to say he's pretty confident. But yeah, those are the betting odds. And really quick, let's give you guys an update on the NASCAR Weekly Podcast Fantasy League. It is a very tight battle up front. Trevor Sports in 98 is currently in the lead with 3,314 points, followed by Toyota Tough behind him with 3,287. In third is 48 Nation. Fourth is Reki Spenhouse. I love that name. And finally, rounding out the top 5 is 24 for Life. So pretty exciting battle. I am almost in the top 30, so hopefully we keep making up some spots.
Now for the pick points, Eric, chat, it's a damn tie.
You guys both picked Austin. You are not Austin. You guys both picked Chase Elliott. He won, so you guys are tied officially.
Eric has a tiebreaker because he has the most cup wins, but you're tied at 309 points. Darian is now third, minus 36. I am fourth, minus 70. And Danny is fifth, minus 78.
You guys,
I'm dead again.
It pissed me off because I was like, damn it, like they had won. Like the chat and Eric, they have gotten so lucky this season with their picks, man. Like, And I mean, I'm in third. I'm happy to be on the podium, but I'm not even a true championship contender yet. What's going on, man? So I got to step it up here so I can catch up to you guys.
Well, Eric, lead us off with the Xfinity pick. Who's going to win the Xfinity race this week?
So I don't have all the names off the top of my head, but this field is loaded. Kyle Larson's in the 17, John Hunter Nemechek's in the 26. Those are just two off the top of my head. I don't have the rest of the names pulled up, but there are several top Cup Series drivers in that race this weekend. So I'm going to go with Kyle Larson. He was fast last year at all the road courses. He didn't win at Road America, but he was still very competitive. Was this the race that he and Bowman got together last year late?
Yes.
So I still think Kyle Larson is going to be a threat. He's in that. Who's running the 17? Is it JRM or is it?
No, it's Hendrick.
It's a Hendrick.
Because remember, Ricky Hendrick used to run it back in the day.
Yeah. I recognize the
biggest reason they're even in the 17 is because Miguel Paludo is already in the 88.
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to, well, I don't want to take anyone else's pick, but I think it's going to be Larson or, a certain series regular. But I'm going to go Larson. I'll go Cup guy.
Okay. I'm going to go, look, I want to pick Larson. It's like, he's riding pretty good on road courses before too. But I mean, this guy, he's a series regular and he's pretty good on road courses as well. I'm going to go with AJ Allmendinger to win this weekend.
I think it'll be the 16 versus 17. Biffle versus Kenseth.
See, I proved at Portland, when in doubt, go with the 16. Even when he was down a lap and a third, I was still like, he could still win this. And he did. So I'm going to go with AJ Allmendinger as my pick this week. I think that, he's outside of maybe Ty Gibbs, he's the best series regular to pick from. I think he is, personally.
And I am going to go with Ty Gibbs. So, because it's a chance for me to do good of him.
Is Jesse Woogie in the field?
He is. He
probably.
is in the field. Yes, I did confirm it with him. He's racing this week.
Wait, is he? Because Kyle Whitterman's in the 34.
Oh, well, I thought he was in one of the cars. Well, I guess not. Never mind.
He's not in the 34.
There's a
Ty
lot
Dillon
of
in the
16s.
6.
Like the Chad is 16 Central.
Ryan Vargas was moved back to the 47 for Ty Dillon in the 6.
By the way, the chat, it's looking like it's either the 16 or the 17.
It's all 16.
Oh, okay.
It's all 16.
They're doing the opposite of Eric from now on.
And people have confirmed, there's no Jesse Iwuchi in this race.
Never mind then. No.
All right.
But also really quick, so if qualifying happens to rain out, the 17 isn't locked in, correct?
Yeah. Well,
the weather's...
why would it be rained out?
Oh, well, I don't know.
Because qualifying on Friday, there's rain in the area.
But they have rain tires.
Oh, yeah.
What if it's lightninged out?
I don't know. Anything can happen. We've seen some of these cars not make the race because of weather, so we'll see.
That's the thing. Lightning does stop it, so
we'll see.
Well, let's move on. Eric, start us off with the SRX. They're at Stafford this week. Who's winning that one for our 4 bonus points if you pick the winner?
He was so strong in his debut, a little weaker last week, but still in contention. I want to go with Ryan Newman. I really think Newman's going to win a race this year. I think it's going to, I don't know, he could win on dirt. I think he'll be competitive on dirt too, but I feel like his better chance is probably on asphalt. So I'm going to go Ryan Newman.
See, at this point, this is Tony Stewart's playground. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to win every race, but I think he'll win this race again. Tony Stewart.
Well, I learned last week not to pick the regular at the track, saying how he wouldn't go to the bottom because he thought the high lane would work like his late model. So I'm going to go with the safe pick that I usually should just go with every week, and I'm going to stick with the guy who picked the winner last week in Darien and just go Tony Stewart.
I'm going with the entertainment pick, Justin Marks.
Ooh, that's right. Yes, he is in the right.
And holy Jesus, that's a lot of 14s.
Yeah.
Is Bobby Labonte really leading the SRX points right now?
Wow.
He's been up front in both races, but he just hasn't led any laps.
Well, yeah,
pay attention to the SRX points.
Apparently,
me and Eric was talking about that after the race. He finished third, and you could not have convinced me of that because I never saw him once.
They barely talked about him.
Barely.
All right. I'm going to give them Tony Stewart, though. That's like every other one is a 14, except for the ones that are laughing with the 69. Nice. But, Eric, who's going to suck in the Cup race this week?
I didn't think about this. I'm just going to throw one out there. We'll say Brad. I don't know. I don't have a reason to way to defend it. I'm just going to go Brad. Has he ever won? Does he have any road course wins? I know he's been up front in a lot
Yes,
of
he's
them.
won at
Yeah.
Watkins Glen before. Yes.
He has a win at Watkins Glen.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So as far as drivers who are gonna suck,
That's right. On the foot, wasn't it? That was the broken
Yes.
foot race.
Yeah.
How could I forget?
So who's gonna suck? I'll just go with the usual pick. I've picked him so many times to suck this year. Cole Custer. When in doubt, pick Custer to suck.
Someone needs to make like a compilation of just Darian picking Cole Custer's goes, Cole Custer's goes, Cole Custer's goes. Just like every episode because it's every week.
Well, I'm gonna go with the guy who I think just is not in the best place when it comes to his mindset right now, especially after last week. He already sucks at road courses. Bubba Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm going with the guy and team that everyone says, "Oh, you guys are here." Loris Hezemans.
They're there this week.
Oh, they're here.
Yeah,
I didn't
Yeah.
know that.
yeah, they're on the entry list.
Wow.
We don't really care either way because they're not going to pick either of them. So let's just give them.
Looks like Bubba.
Yeah, let's give them Bubba.
Yeah. Like
They're not gonna pick Cole Custer to win or be the dark horse.
No.
So.
Oh, now there's a lot of 41s too, but it don't matter.
There's people literally saying Bubba and not just his number now. So
You can have both. It doesn't matter. You're
Yeah,
not
just
gonna
give them
pick-
both. Give them the 23 and the 41.
Oh my God, Philip in the chat says Bubba's crew has to pit backwards this week. Uh-oh.
Be ready.
Well, let's keep moving forward right now, Eric. Who's the dark horse?
okay, let's not spam. Keep spamming to 43. I don't know why it's still happening. So
It's fine.
Do they think Bubba's still in the fight? I mean, Jones is an average road racer. No, let's see, dark horse. Going back to Sonoma, there's so many we could pick from. I have a feeling we're all going to pick someone who finished in the top 5 of that race. So I don't want to steal anyone's. I'll start us off with Kevin Harvick. You know what? I feel like I've been hard on Kevin Harvick, justifiably so. He hasn't won a race in almost 2 years, but he showed winning speed at Sonoma. And at times this past weekend at Nashville, he was almost able to run with the Gibbs guys and Chase Elliott, but not quite. He still came back to finish 10th despite pitting with whatever that was, like 5 laps to go. So I'll go Kevin Harvick for my underdog pick.
I'm going to go with Kevin Harvick as well. I mean, yes, is he winning a bunch of races here and there? Of course not. But he's still running pretty well. I mean, even go look at Jarrett's Winston Cup points, too. I mean, like, yes, they would have raced differently, but it shows how consistent he still is. So Kevin Harvick, I'll give him, he's my pick for a solid underdog.
I made a video about the man this week. I'm going with Michael McDowell. I mean, he's seriously, since Dirt Bristol, been the 9th best driver in the field. And the only ones that are ahead of him are the championship contenders. He's great at road courses. He ran well at the last one. The team overall is starting to click. So I'm going McDowell all the way.
I've had him for a couple times on road course as an underdog, and I will keep having him as an underdog here. Joey Hand.
And the chat, I think, is almost unanimous in Michael McDowell. There are so many 34s.
Yeah.
So
Well, that means y'all can't pick him to win. Just a heads up, y'all.
Well, we're going to roll into that.
All right. Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win at Road America?
Well, I got my first 2 win picks of the year correct by picking Ross Chastain.
I don't brag about it.
I also just got a win pick correct by picking Chase Elliott. So I'm going to keep this terrible 2s going. I think Chase Elliott goes back to back, not just week to week, but year to year, winning at Road America. He's my pick.
Look, I've already talked about my pick. Even with Jarrett, I already think I know where he's about to go with this. Look, if he doesn't have that mechanical problem last year, I think he's a contender for the win. Now he's running full time, and this just so happens to be his most favorite road course on the schedule at the moment. Definitely got to go with Austin Cindric this week.
Yeah, Darian kind of spoiled it with what mine is. I'm going to go Cindric too. I trust him with this track and this car, and with this probably being the last one, he'd probably have a little more motivation to win at it in Cup. So Cindric's my pick.
And I'm gonna keep it in Trackhouse. I'm gonna go for Ross Chastain. They've won all the road courses so far, so I'm gonna say Ross Chastain on this one.
In the chat, I see a lot of 9s.
I've seen a lot of Eric Almirola.
Eric Almirola.
And I thought
wait.
it was just two guys in IDK spamming, but no, there's like a good
you're,
6 or
you're
7
not
people.
wait.
Wait, what? Why are they picking? What's going on?
Okay,
here?
I want to see a poll between Elliott and Almirola because
Let's
those are the
do it.
top
Yes,
two.
do it.
Let's do it. Oh
Hey,
my god.
Give him Almirola.
Wait.
All right.
Are people, are
You
they
guys
sabotage-
literally have a tie with Eric.
Pick
Are they
Almirola.
sabotaging themselves on purpose here, yo? Like,
This is their Kevin LePage moment 2022 edition.
Oh my god.
Poll is up.
Pick Almirola. You want to the Cuban Missile?
Unless they're hedging their bets on Allmendinger.
Come on, refresh. I want to see what this
dude, they're picking him. They're picking him right now.
the 10 is leading.
Oh no.
Guys, this is
What?
serious. This isn't a troll. Y'all got.
Oh my god, it's 50-50.
Wow.
They are actually serious.
Oh my
Yo.
god, there's 134 votes and it's 50-50.
You guys are tied for the lead, yo.
What are y'all doing?
I don't know, man.
Oh my
wait,
god.
How did Eric Almirola perform well?
He's ahead!
51%.
51%.
It's a landslide. Stop the count.
Oh, he's pulling away. He's pulling away. 53-47 now.
Wow.
What is going on?
I first thought it was just 1 or 2 people spamming Almirola, but I paused the chat a couple times. There's like 6 or 8 people saying Almirola.
Dude,
How did he
There's
perform here last?
There's 200 votes and it's 52% to the 10.
Wow. Now it's 53%.
And that's what is happening?
Hold on, I gotta see. I'm looking up Eric Almirola's road course stats.
He started 19th and finished 14th here last year.
What the freak?
He led 1 lap.
Almirola has 0 top 10s in his last 13 road course starts.
Oh my god.
God.
Why? I like that. Oh, there's a chat in there. Trust the process.
I'm gonna die when Chase blows a motor and Almirola at least finishes like 12th or something.
You have to give him Almirola, bro.
Let's let it get to 250
right.
votes. Okay.
It's 54-46 right now. He's almost got a 10% lead.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it to 250 votes. I'll read some super chats and we'll see if there's any change. But dear Lord.
Okay, the 9 cut it down a little bit. Now it's 53-47.
God,
All right, I'm gonna get to the super chats right now. Jesus Christ, I can't even focus right now. Who'd I leave off on? Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, let's go super chats while this is going. Double OO Music for $2 says thoughts on Bowman's Atlanta paint scheme. Dope. I think it's pretty awesome personally. So Irvin Alvarado for $9.99 says time now for another edition of How to Ruin Careers and Legacies. Just staring. I don't know what he's saying, but I'm sorry, I don't understand that reference, Irvin. But I thank you for your super chat. That's really generous. Jam_plays_games says that Brian Scott was in the JGR Xfinity program in 2011. So that answers our question we asked earlier. Hot Piss, thank you for the $4.99. Says just to be clear, I have no problem with the 9 winning, but the no call proves my point. They don't call it when the 9 is going to win the All-Star race. I don't know, man. I mean, we talked about the rainbow caution. PTM Billy, thank you for the $5. Says, I like how we're halfway through and a clear favorite has yet to emerge. Yes,
that is true.
Yes, we have some guys with multiple wins, but no one has pulled away. That is, yeah, like I said, it is true.
Speaking of pulling away, I just want to remind the chat, I found it. His average finish on road courses is 20.4, and of the most recent ones, actually, okay, all the way back to 2008, he has led 1 lap at a road course, and that was Road America last year. This is literally his best road course.
Jesus Christ. Oh my God, let's just keep moving. Alex Luft, thank you for the $2. Says it's time for Bubba Wallace, radio sweetheart. Yeah, we need that back. Napa Racing Fan 927, hot take for 2022, IndyCar racing over NASCAR racing. That's an interesting take.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Gonzalez for 5 says, I'm excited for Road America, which I will be there in person. I hope to see you guys there if any of you are going. 3 of us are going. So, Dustin, thank you for the $4.99. Says, just checking to see who all is watching Rowdy tonight. KFB in theaters, baby. Get the popcorn.
Last week.
Napa Racing Fan 927 with another one for $5 says NBC slips up on Sunday. Dale Jr. calling Marty Snyder Marty Smith. Steve Letarte called the 48 Jimmy Johnson, and Rick Allen said Law and Order SVU.
Did he say Marty Smith again this week? Oh
Yep.
no, Dale, come on.
And Letarte said the 48 was Jimmy Johnson.
Oh goodness.
Gavin Ropchan, thank you for the $2, says thanks for putting on the show, boys. No problem.
Yeah.
Novastone 12, thank you for the 5, says how are TV ratings calculated? If young people are watching from parents' TVs or streaming, the numbers would not count. Many people don't have cable. Well, there's different Nielsen things that go out that you can put how many people are in the house, what their ages are, and they calculate it from there with Nielsen, plus the Nielsen boxes they use. And streaming numbers, they know your age directly from that. Derek Cope leaves a $1.99, says 2023 Cup returns sponsored by Danny B.
Yeah, like I'm paying for that.
NASCAR Ally Cup Series for $5 says if SRX can race at the fairgrounds, then how come Trucks, Xfinity, or ARCA can't? Well, ARCA does race there.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, the sucky ARCA East Series races there, where there's only like 2 good cars. So.
Hot Piss, thank you for the $1.99, says Bristol lets in coolers and alcohol, just no glass. Well, that's SRX.
By the way, Jared,
We're
over
at
100.
250.
Yeah, it's over. Eric Almirola is the pick. It's over. It's
You-
over.
You are insane,
Thank-
people.
thanks, chat.
Okay,
Thank you.
so I'm doing the math here. 54% of 254 votes. 54% times.
I can't
For-
believe they did that.
There were 137 people who voted for Eric Almirola to win this race.
Thank you, Chad, for making it wide open again.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Let's get
And
through
now,
this.
and now people are going in and saying that this is a Chase Elliott.
Well, let's get through these last couple super chats here. NASCAR Racing Fan 927 leaves another one. Is Austin Dillon's reality show good or for NASCAR? Is it good for NASCAR? I mean,
I don't think, dude. I don't think most.
Nobody's
NASCAR
watching
fans,
it.
Yeah, dude. Like most NASCAR fans aren't watching that show. I'm just letting y'all know. Like, it's not gonna happen.
Chase Fan 9, thank you for the $4.99, says it's crazy to think Kurt Busch is the last driver in the field who raced against Dale Earnhardt. That is crazy. Mother of all icebergs leaves a 25, says for gas money. See you soon. Thanks, Mom.
I'll get you about, out of the neighborhood, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Carlito's Corner, thank you for the $1.99, says Jarrett's channel is fire. You earned a shout. And then shout Jimmy. Jimmy! Novastone 12, thank you for the $2, says for JR Car, JJ for the 600 and 500 next year, then MTJ. I mean, that'd be cool. Groovy Goose, thank you for the $1.99. Wish Jr. could use a 31. It's his first number in NASCAR. That is right.
It was, yes.
The old Gargoyles car. Philip Richards, thank you for the $2, says Bubba's crew has to pit backwards this week. I think, Eric, you pointed that out. Antar Das, thank you for the $1.99, says Jarrett, how much to bribe the picks? Maybe we'll start doing super chat picks next year. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Jake Stu, thank you for the $4.99, says the funniest part is all the toxic Chase fans crying about what? They won.
No, I think they're crying about. Oh, Eric, you're muted. You muted, bro.
About the picks.
Yeah, they're crying about the picks. Yeah, they're crying about
funny.
the picks, bro.
Gold Track, thanks for the $1. Lukio, thank you for the $2 Canadian. Why the hell are we voting Eric Almirola?
I don't know. I don't know why y'all did. Man.
Evan Walters, thank you for the $9.99. Left no comment, but thank you again. Napa Racing Fan 927, thank you for the $2 super chat. He says, NWP is greater than Race Hub plus Motor Mouse plus backseat drivers.
Whoa,
Thanks.
that's some high praise.
Ooh,
Hey,
thank
I
you.
appreciate you, bro. That's a lot of shows. Hey, I appreciate it.
Hey, to be fair, too, but we're on backseat drivers at some point, so.
Pat 02537 says Trolls win for $5. Andrew says for $1.99, is it time for Pocono yet? Jam _plays _games for $1.99 says, do you dare question the power of Eric Almagoda?
I like
So
that.
I think I'm figuring out that a lot of these are IDK's chat that come in and
I love this.
did this. Because that's what I'm noticing. It seems like this is a lot of IDK's chat that come in just for this.
I'm noticing.
It's
some of
beautiful.
them, yeah. I love it.
Silver cents, coins, and collectors. for $2 says, which are you guys going to be at Michigan? None of us know at the moment. Lucio for $2 says Minions Rise of Gru. And Dardas says for $1.99 the bowl was fortified. It was fortified, all right. Tyler Tinsley for 10 says get IDK in chat. Yep, that's Tinsley. That's a good one, Tinsley. Evan Walters for the $9.99 says, Jarrett, this question is for you because I can see the desktop UFO. Do you watch Timcast? I do, and I will spin the UFO.
Spin it.
I need to get.
That's a new addition to your studio. I haven't seen that with the new backdrop yet.
Yeah, I've had to fix it back up a little bit. It stopped working and then started like making noise. Let's see. Is there any? I think that's it. So thank you, Evan. Thank you for the super chat.
Hey, there. Really quick. There are some pissed off people in the chat. They are mad at IDK right now. They are pissed, bro.
Well, I'm not saying IDK made them come over here.
Oh, I think you contributed a little bit.
I mean, dude,
they're mad, bro.
We can do another one, but
no, it's too late. It's too late, bro.
I don't think the IDK made them come over here.
No, he didn't.
No.
We have crossover. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Still,
sorry. I mean, if it becomes if it's Almirola every week, I'll like.
Yeah. If it's Almirola next week, then we'll be like, okay, that's it.
You tell me if you saw him winning New Hampshire last year, you might be surprised. You might pull away.
Who knows? You might. Hey, he might win this weekend. Hey, you never know.
Before we close this out, Melon Smasher 1, thank you for the $4.99. Says Eric Almirola is less overrated than Ratatouille. Jesus Christ. I didn't even mean to make that a meme. God. Sorry. I didn't mean to make that a meme. But yeah, that was a show. That was definitely a show.
That was hilarious.
Well, join us next week as we'll be on Wednesday night, July 6th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on Darian's channel, Black Flags Matter, going over all the events of Road America, previewing the Atlanta weekend, maybe talking about Eric Almirola again, and maybe even talk about when I bring Darian and my girlfriend Riss to Chicagoland, which I have a piece of in my hand right here.
Oh,
so,
that's what's up. Yeah,
we'll stop by there.
Oh, that was a moon rock? Where'd you get?
And so I think I could say this now. I think it's been long enough I can. 10 years ago, they left the gate open to the track on a Thursday night when nobody was at the track. So my grandpa and I were like, well, the gate's open. There's no guard telling us to stop.
Yeah.
So we walked in.
Did you use a jackhammer? How'd you pry up a piece of the track?
The track is old, and before they had a lot of the seams on the bottom, there were just pieces of the track that were brought up. So I picked one up and brought it with me. I never. I mean, it actually still has pieces of the rubber left in it from that year. So no, I brought it with me. I never knew that.
You got one last super chat.
Oh, you got a few more.
Oh wait, yeah, I got two. Antardas for $1.99 says God needs to make IDK player pay. Bell of the Ard for $5 says I've lost respect. Sorry, this is absolutely rigged for money or ratings. Not sure which. I won't be silent. I just saw it live.
He said Korea.
What a good meme.
That's good. That's good. I was like, where's this going? Oh my God, Lucio. Let's see. He says that Minions Rise of Gru is better than Ratatouille for $2 and thank you, Michael Jensen, for the 50. Have a round on me next time all four of you are at the track together. Love what you guys do. Wish there was this kind of show when I was your guys' age. Thanks for trying to get the youngins involved.
You got to say that right. You live in Tennessee now. The youngins
involved in this way. Well, thank you, Michael. Thank you. That means a lot.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it, bro.
And Napa Racing Fan 927 says, should Truck Xfinity do individual events again? I think at some tracks, yes.
They do a little bit. But...
Yeah. We'll see.
All right. I think that's going to be it for tonight, guys. That was fun. That was fun
hilarious.
Show. But I guess, Eric, do you have your Dale call on you?
Hey, do the same thing again where you just poke it again. And it just,
See y'all, guys.
Goodbye.
Whoa,
hey, stop.
Holy moly. Great job! Yeah! This guy.
thank you. Wow!
Hell yeah. Great job, man! grip. Rain like hell, baby. Come on. Oh my God, guys. Yes. Yes. Unbelievable. You guys are the best. Yes, 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 yes. Oh, what a year.